Welcome to Nimin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today we are answering your YouTube questions. And when I say we, I mean myself and my brother from the same mother, D. D, how's it going?
I missed everybody. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it has. It has.
Yeah. How was the past 2 weeks?
Has it been 2 weeks or what? Yeah, it was just last week that we missed.
Right, but but it's been 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, it has been 2 weeks. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
It's gonna be one of those streams. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I hope everybody's doing fantastic. If this is your first time joining us, I do want to let you know that we have a form down in the description where you can put your questions. If you can get them down there now, we will get it answered on the stream today. Let me check real quick. I think we don't have. Yeah, we have some questions in there, but not too many. So if you have a question, go ahead and get it in there now. If you are watching this on somewhere other than YouTube, you can go to nicknimin.com/ask, ASK, and it will forward you directly to that same form that we are pulling the questions from here on YouTube. In addition to that, if you are watching this on the replay, I do want to let you know that we put timestamps down into the video description so that you can quickly jump to whatever part of the stream that you are interested in the most. What we do down there is we list out the questions that were asked during the stream. So if there's something specific that you want to know or you just want to see, the conversation that we had, you can jump down into those timestamps and find what it is that you need down there. But I recommend that you just sit back and listen because we talk all kinds of things about YouTube, answer all kinds of different YouTube questions, probably a lot of questions that you didn't even know that you had, and we have a good time. So sit back and listen to the whole thing. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
So with that out of the way, I do want to let you know that the stream today is brought to you by Opus Clip. Opus Clip is the world's best clipping tool that will help you repurpose your content with just a few clicks. You can take one long form video and quickly convert it into a bunch of YouTube shorts that you can also put on TikTok, Instagram, things like that. You can also take one longer video, like let's say, for example, this live stream, and you can drop it into Opus Clip, and you can actually get 16:9 ratio clips as well that are up to 15 minutes long. So it basically allows you to make longer, regular videos out of the longer content that you put together, which is really cool as well. If you are somebody that does high volume content, like let's say you do a lot of podcasting, things like that, they also have a really cool search feature inside of Opus as part of their offering to where you can have it, give it access to your archive. And then let's say that you're looking for something like, hey, give me all of the videos where we are wearing this hat or this like shirt here because we're trying to promote it for our merch drop or something. Then in that case, it'll find all of those things for you in your archive and it'll present them to you. It also keeps you up to date on trends that are happening and notifies you when you've mentioned something in your videos that is on trend in terms of things that people are talking about in the world right now, which is really cool. But you can try that for yourself at opusclip.com, or if you want to hook me up with an affiliate commission, you can go to tryopusnow.com, and it's all going to lead you to the same exact place.
So Chatty Kathy, how you
Kathy.
doing? How you doing, Kathy? She says, Nick, my son says you drink too much coffee in your video. Let me say something.
That's the whole thing. That's what I'm trying to do in that video.
When I was a young man, when I was a kid,
when you were a youngin,
when I was a youngin, if I talked any smack like that, I'd be sent out to mow the yard. And then when I was done mowing the yard, I'd have to hedge the bushes, and then I'd have to clean the gutters.
Yep. And then you'd have to like lay down bricks and like a brick walkway in the back.
Yeah.
In the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the hottest day of the year.
Yeah, get that kid to work. He shouldn't be in here watching somebody drink coffee. That's what I'm trying to say. Get him out there making money or being productive.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so really quick, before we get into the content today, because I've got some questions that have come in, plus there's one here about ChatGPT that I would like to answer as well from Penman Sports. But before we do that, I do want to let you know that there has been some YouTube news since we've been away. So the very first thing is that YouTube has made some updates to YouTube search. As a part of this, the two filters that they're removing are upload date for the last hour and sort by rating. However, you can still find the most recent search results in one of our upload date filters and explore popular, highly viewed videos using the popularity filter option as well. So that's one of the things. In addition to that, they've also made some updates to the controversial issues for monetization. So if you are somebody that talks about, subjects like, when people, get killed or anything like that, then depending on how you talk about them, you might still qualify for monetization.
So my understanding, they loosened that up for almost everyone.
Yeah.
There are a couple of categories. They're still like, no, you can't talk about that. I think a lot of it has to do with like child exploitation and that sort of thing. But they kind of like backed off of everything else. which is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think it's cool as well. Like, like there's the whole thing about, what do advertisers want to be advertised next to? And I understand that.
Sure.
But when it comes to, things like that for people that are doing, like let's say they're on true crime stories as an example, then, that gives those people an opportunity to, be able to fully monetize everything it is that they're doing, which is great.
The problem that I always had with that is that the news could put up their clips and
and they're fine.
They could go live and they could talk 24 hours a day about the most horrible stuff happening all over the world.
Yeah.
And then if you made a video talking about the same thing that they went over,
the news that's talking about
the news and talking about it, you can't monetize your video.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that somebody over there said, you know what? We got to do the right thing here.
Yep.
So good on YouTube.
Good on YouTube on that one. And then we also have where they have, if you're somebody that uses the promotions feature on YouTube, which just as a quick reminder, YouTube promotions views and subscribers do not count towards monetization. And we recommend that you only use this feature if you have something to actually sell from your videos, because all this does is this allows you to advertise without having to get into the complexities of Google Ads. So because of that, this is something that you want to use with caution and only if you have a real purpose to use it. But they have added interest targeting to the promotions feature. So with this interest targeting, one of the examples they gave is, let's say that you are targeting gamers, with your content. Then in that case, you can specifically target gamers, as one example. So it's more based on interests as one of the options in there, which is great. And when it comes to this, again, just, be careful. Some people are using this to, try to grow their channels and things like that. And I just want to just put the reminder out there before you spend money on it to try to use it to grow your channel, that it doesn't matter how much money that you put behind ads, doesn't matter how much money that you put behind, these types of promotional features. If you still haven't learned how to get people to click, how to come up with good video ideas, how to create content that keeps people watching and gets them satisfied with your content, then as soon as you turn off the ad spend, everything dries up. So because of that, just proceed with caution when it comes to that sort of thing, but just wanted to keep you up to date on the availability of that. They also launched a feature called Ingredients to Video. So with this one, inside of YouTube Shorts right now, you can make Google VO videos, VEO, and what that is you can type in text prompts and it will, give you videos out of those. You can upload photos. It'll give you videos out of those. But now with this ingredients feature, they have it to where you can upload a photo of yourself.
An image.
Yep. You can upload a photo of yourself. You can also upload a background, and you can also upload like an object of some kind. And then it'll blend all of them together in the video instead of it just being a one object type or one photo type of thing.
If you guys haven't seen it yet, I have a video that went viral where I uploaded myself on a basketball court with a basketball, and I told it to make me a Harlem Globetrotter. It's incredible. You should see it.
Six Shop, what's going on? Thanks for the 11 months there of support. Appreciate that. Tan going in the kitchen, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. SMAS Sky. Hope that you are doing awesome. Nice to see you in here.
Hey, Sheila.
And Eric Wait Whiskey said, he says you can't talk about Fight Club. Yep, that's kind of how it goes. Matt Vietnam Life, what's going on? Hope you are doing great.
We have some other member...
Yep, I'm kind of scrolling up through them
Catching
here
up
right now.
Actually, I'm just looking here. YouTube says you can talk about Fight Club now.
Oh, yeah, that's
so.
Kind of the thing.
They will monetize you.
Fight Club says you can't talk about Fight Club, but YouTube says it's okay.
Yeah. YouTube says you can.
Yeah. So let's see here. So the first question here.
You still have home rapid repair and create a classroom.
Yep, I will. I'll get to those right here in just a second. Okay, right here at the very top, 24 months. It's like a toddler. Nick and Dee are the absolute best. Thank you both. Thank you for the kind words. Glad that you think so. Glad you're enjoying the content. Thanks for being around. Thanks for hanging out. It's much appreciated. And home rapid repair, same to you as well. Looks like you guys are competing there. We got 24 and 25 months. So thanks to both of you there. Yep. So the very first question here.
Shop.
Hey, I got that one already.
Well, I'm saying it now.
Yep, say it. Get it, D. Get it. So Penman Sports says, should I use ChatGPT for my YouTube channel? Any suggestions? So there are ways that you can use ChatGPT for your YouTube channel, but I recommend that you don't get dependent on using ChatGPT for your YouTube channel. So getting feedback, asking questions, trying to get better understandings of things, bouncing ideas off of it, things like that can be advantageous, especially if you don't have anybody in your circle that does anything related to YouTube. It's just can be a bouncing board to run your ideas through. But keep in mind that because it it is trained on historical information, some of the information that you'll get out of ChatGPT is just flat out wrong on 2026 YouTube. So for example, depending on how you're looking for things and depending on how you're, trying to get information out of it, sometimes it'll recommend that you spend time on, making sure that you get all your tags, sorted in your videos.
Yeah.
And, and it also will give misinformation as well. So for example, you'll see some YouTube videos where they'll say things that are just completely wrong and just misinformation, where they'll say things about, hey, you got to make sure if you want to get more views that you name your video file the name of your, whatever keyword you're trying to rank for, whatever your title is, or whatever those things are. And when people say things like that on Reddit and, whatever it's scraped from YouTube and all that stuff, then that's in its system. So because of that, it can give you advice based on those things that aren't actually true either. So because of that, any information that you do get from it, take it with a grain of salt. But with that said, it can be really powerful in terms of, hey, I'm trying to come up with a value proposition for my channel. Here's what I offer. What do you recommend? Hey, here's a screenshot of, my last 10 videos. Do you see anything here that, I could be making a mistake with? Here is, the hook of my video. Pick this apart for me and be, brutally honest about this hook and let me know if you think that this would help people watching or ways that I might be able to improve it. And, and it'll just give you some suggestions. But when it does that, make sure that you are thinking for yourself and being like, okay, for the people that I'm trying to reach with my content, does this, is this really going to resonate with them, or is ChatGPT kind of gassing me up because that's, kind of what it's trained to do also in terms of making people feel good?
So I have some advice. I have some advice, and I'm going to give you advice if you're using the paid version of ChatGPT or a free version. And you can also apply this to Claude or any of the others. So in ChatGPT, you can make a custom GPT.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you can do, and ChatGPT can actually help you write this, is I recommend if you're going to use ChatGPT to help you do anything on your channel, and just to piggyback on what he said, write out exactly who you are making videos for. This is something we've been going over for the past 2 weeks in Tuber School, really focusing the students on the avatars and really trying to dial down who they're making videos for. So if you dial that down and say, okay, this is a person, this is their age, this is what their interests are, these are the problems that they have, this is what they're trying to figure out. Like, the more you can drill down who you're making videos for, write that into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever and say, make a prompt so I can add it into my custom GPT. And it will take that information, add it as a custom GPT. So then, and then keep going back to that custom GPT to ask questions and tell it to reference your avatar, tell it to reference your ideal viewer, so that when you're asking it questions, it gives you information based on who you tell it your viewer is. That doesn't mean it's going to be 100% correct, but at least you give it some guardrails to play with.
Yes. Because
if you just turn it loose, it can come back with some pretty wild stuff, and it doesn't understand the nuance of what it means to be a human consuming content.
Right.
It understands, data, but it doesn't understand really why someone wants to watch. And if you try to drill it down without giving it some guardrails, it can miss. So if you don't have the paid version, you can just figure out who your audience is, write that down, put it in a note file, and then every time you're getting ready to use it to ask it YouTube questions, so then if it's for Gemini or for Claude or for ChatGPT, copy, paste it so it understands who your audience is before you start asking it questions. If you don't do that, it just has a tendency to run off the rails.
Yeah, and really quick, Global Lynn says, did you have the flu? So last week I didn't have the flu, I don't think. I'm not 100% sure. Now I'm like 90-something% better. Still not 100% yet on the energy side, but I'm doing way better than I was this time last week. So feel much better. Not 100% sure what it was, but it was, it wasn't wonderful in any way, shape, or form. So,
hold on. I had no idea D couldn't pronounce Avatar.
Yeah, I put that one up on the screen earlier. Yeah, when you were talking.
Why? Is it Avatar or
Yeah,
Avatar?
Avatar.
What did I say?
You're like Avatar. Yeah, I'd have to like go back and listen to you say it again. Yeah.
Avatar,
Yeah, it's
Avatar.
fine how you say it. It's perfectly fine. Hey, thanks, Ron. Appreciate that.
Can we kick her
Build
out?
Fix with Mooney. What's going on? Hope you're
Mods,
doing great.
can we
Tish, nice to see you in here.
Can we walk her to the door, Mods?
Right. Hey, so really quick, I just want to mention this. So Chris Life 247 says, I don't have enough data on my channel to tell me who my audience is. So I see this on like Reddit and in here, you know, in the chat from time to time. And when it comes to this sort of thing, it's important to make sure that when you're writing your titles, you know, that you are actually trying to connect with who it is that you're trying to reach through how you're presenting everything, starting with the video idea itself. And then through that process, it will help you be able to connect with those people that you're actually trying to connect with. So, you know, this is one of those things to where, you know, YouTube's going to do what YouTube does, and it's going to find the audience for you. But the more clear that you make it, that your content is for that audience, the higher the likelihood that they're going to click on the video, higher the likelihood they're going to enjoy the video, which then is going to send more signals to YouTube that tells their system, hey, this type of viewer, they enjoy this content. So then their system, you know, they look for other people like those people. So because of that, make sure that you're doing the work on the front end so that it makes it easier for YouTube's system to do the work on their end. Dr. Vibe Show, what's going on, man?
Hey,
Hope you're doing
Dr.
great.
Vibe.
Tan going in the kitchen, what's going on?
They are taking me to the task for my pronunciation of avatar.
That's all right. I can't say doing correctly.
Doing?
Yeah, it's like doing.
Doing.
Yeah, doing. But I've always said it doing.
Avatar.
And yeah.
Say avatar.
I've gotten eaten up in my
Avatar.
comments on that for like 11 years.
Avatar. Say it.
Avatar.
Avatar.
Yep.
Avatar. Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
Avatar.
Yeah, and I don't even know
Avatar.
if avatar is right over avatar. I don't know. Yeah, we're going to have to drop into how I pronounce that. You know, there's a whole YouTube channel that's just words on how you pronounce words.
Really?
So you can probably type in right now, you can probably type in how to pronounce avatar, and that channel will probably pop up. Yeah, check it out.
Well, we're going to do something
So
here
while
before
Dee's
we go
doing
in.
that, the very first question that we have here on our list today is from Design Rescue.
Can you tell me
Design Rescue, they upload when they have time, been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They do educational content. The goal of the channel is to teach others. And the question is, I've shifted away from showing my face in my thumbnails, but I'm not sure if I'm capturing the right audience to grab attention. Side question, hype still doesn't show up as a feature in my settings. Do you happen to know why, and is it even worth worrying about? For your type of content, I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't worry about the hype too much. But in terms of shifting from showing your face in your thumbnails, that's perfectly fine if people are responding to it better. However, if you know, if you're not getting as good of a response, then in that case, you know, I would put yourself back in there. But I'm just going to take a really quick look and see what it is that you're doing. Oh, okay, yeah. We've had you up before. So here, like the invisible branding system of Knott's Berry Farm. Yeah, here you're focusing on the thing that, you know, that actually matters there. So I think you're okay with that. But I would definitely just compare click-through rate on different traffic sources from basically go into your YouTube analytics, click up in the top right-hand side, click into advanced. Over on the left-hand side, you're going to see some drop-downs over in like the panel over on the far left. It's going to say content when you first go in there. Click into that and choose traffic sources. And then it's going to show you how people are responding from like YouTube's homepage or from browse features. It's going to show you search, show you suggested videos. So go in there and start comparing some of the videos with your face versus the ones without your face, and just see if you notice any patterns there on which one people respond to more. And in addition to that, just run A/B tests on it as well. Because as your channel grows, you might be able to leverage your face for the people that know you and like your content. But for right now, I think that you're actually taking a good approach here on just saying like, hey, let me just focus on the thing that my audience cares about most. I think that that's definitely, you know, the right move to make right now.
Hey, can you tell me how to pronounce the word? Can you tell me how to pronounce the word avatar or avatar?
It's pronounced as avatar with the emphasis on the first syllable. So it's like
On the first
avatar.
syllable.
Say it again.
Absolutely. I'll say it again. It's avatar with the emphasis right there on that first av.
Yep.
How
So
many?
really quick, Design Rescue has a follow-up question here, and they say, you know, thank you. I heard that the A/B thumbnail tests are broken. They're not broken. So when it comes to the A/B thumbnail test, right now with where your channel's at, you're not going to get like much information on it. So if you have a video that ends up doing like better, then in that case, you know, you will get, you know, some real information on it. But right now, like where you're at in terms of your average view counts at this moment in time, I don't think the A/B test is gonna help you much. much. So that's why I would go historically into what you've done and do those comparisons in your traffic sources that I was talking about. But even with that, it's a little bit muddy because you still put yourself in a situation to where you might attribute the thumbnail getting clicked on to your face being in the thumbnail, but it could just be that topic, was the thing that mattered. But because the numbers are kind of low right now, it makes that type of stuff really challenging. That's why I mentioned that the move that you're making right now in terms of focusing on the people that you're trying to reach, what will stand out to them, focusing on that would be the better move. And then once you start, getting your average view counts higher, then that's where you'd start dropping yourself back in there again and start, A/B testing and that kind of stuff.
All right, I've got one more. Hang on one second. Can you tell me how? Oopsie, hold on. Hold on here. We got another question. Can you tell me how many R's are in strawberry?
Of course, in the word strawberry, there are 2 R's, one in the middle and one at the end.
There are 2 R's in strawberry. Are you sure?
That's got to be a troll from OpenAI.
You're absolutely correct. That was a slip up on my part. There's actually only 1 R in strawberry. Thanks for catching that.
Yeah, right. So I'm not going to listen to how you pronounce avatar. That's my point. I win.
Yep, you won. Yep. So Trainer James is the next channel here. Trainer James, they upload when they have time, been on YouTube for a year or more. They have a Pokemon gaming channel. Ooh. Goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, when I upload a new video, I usually make a YouTube short that links to it. Is it better to post the short the same day as the video or wait until the views slow down and use it to boost the video again? So you can do that sort of thing, and it's fine to do that. And you can publish the video and then publish a short or a whole group of shorts that kind of point back to that video. You can absolutely do that. But one of the things that I would just, try to remember when it comes to shorts is that when you publish a video for the sake of only advertising the long form video that you published, you're trying to take people out of the experience that they have chosen, which is YouTube Shorts. They've either chosen by going into the shelf on a homepage, by clicking into Shorts on their phone, by clicking into Shorts on a channel page, any of the places, pretty much every surface that YouTube recommends shorts, they have chosen to go in there and hang out in the short shelf. So because of that, you can get people out of there and get them over into videos. But I wouldn't look at that as I'm going to use my shorts only to advertise my long form. I would also try to make sure that you're adding value into your shorts as well, so that you can also get those people to where when they see your shorts, because here's what's going to happen. You're in front of people that are into Pokemon. Those people that are into Pokemon, once they start catching on that you're just doing ads for your long form content, when your content shows up and they recognize that it's yours, they're going to start swiping away because they're going to catch on to it. So the long-term burn on that is not going to work out to your advantage. But if you add value in the YouTube Shorts, and by value, I simply mean good content that they can enjoy. And then maybe at the end of that, you mentioned that you have an extended, version of that or something like that into, the video. Then in that case, you're giving them something good that they can enjoy there, and then you're handing off. And you might be doing that already. If you are, then that's the better approach. But definitely don't make shorts just for the sake of saying like, hey, I just published a video, long form video over here, go check it out. Just make sure that you're giving them good, quality content. And I think that you might be doing that already. But yeah, so to answer your question then in terms of when to do it, I would do it basically publish the video, and then you don't have to necessarily wait for it to like slow down, but just give it time, for the video to be recommended to people. And then from there, if you want to, try to use, a group of shorts or a short to promo, or to not promo it, but to let people know that it's there at the end of really good content they can enjoy, then that would be the approach. Hey, Jerry, what's going on, man?
We were having a conversation earlier today before we came in. We were talking about how YouTube is just stuffing shorts into the homepage. You open up YouTube, it's just shorts. Mm-hmm. And you are going to start making more shorts. Yeah, I'm curious.
I mean, I've already got them made. Like I just have to.
I'm curious how many people in here right now are taking advantage of that. The fact that YouTube is putting so much weight on shorts. Every time you open up YouTube, doesn't matter if your computer or your phone, it's just shorts.
Yep.
If you are taking advantage of that or not.
And really quick, everyday Dana says, how long does it take to be recommended? So as soon as you publish a video, YouTube is going to start recommending your content. You can see that in your YouTube stats. You can see that under what's called an impression. An impression is when YouTube shows your content to somebody on the platform. So if people are going to respond to it or not, that's a totally different thing. If they're going to decide to click on it or if they're going to decide to watch it, you know, if it's a short versus swiping away. But when it comes to YouTube recommending it, you know, once you publish it and YouTube understands, you know, the video, then YouTube's going to recommend that content. It might be to a lot of people if it's like a, you know, really wide topic in terms of something that a lot of people are interested in right now. Or it could be a handful of people if the thing that you're talking about is just super narrow and you know, just really granular, you know, a video. So, you know, in order to see if YouTube is recommending your content, I have a short about this on my channel, actually. But basically, if you want to see if YouTube is recommending your content, just go into your stats for the video and then look under impressions. And if you see impressions, but you're not getting views, that means that YouTube is showing your content to people, but people aren't clicking on it. So that's what you want to look for. And then when you identify that, then you're like, okay, well, now I know that YouTube has showed my content to, you know, 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people or whatever it is. And, you know, if I'm not getting, you know, that many people to click on it, then now let's start trying to uncover what could actually be going on there. Because YouTube's showing it to people. But on my end, if I can't get people to respond to it, why do I think that is? And then you start workshopping it from there.
Well, hello, Melanie. Long time no see. Good to see you. Says she is watching while putting furniture together.
Nice.
Hope you're doing well.
Monique, what's going on? Hope you're doing great.
Hey, Monique. And
Oh,
Pure
yeah, Melanie.
Remnants
Yeah,
is
it's been a
doing
minute. Yeah, nice to see you in here.
shorts
Hope
every
that you
day.
are doing great. Yeah, nice.
doing nothing but shorts.
Amy Johnson, what's up? Hope you're doing awesome.
We have a lot of people in here doing shorts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think 2026. I think it's a good move. You know, like we were talking about over coffee.
It's just where they're putting their attention.
Yeah, if YouTube's trying to push everybody into shorts, then you probably want to be there.
I'm not
pretty simple math.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but I have no control over what YouTube is putting focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And if YouTube is putting focus on shorts, and I'm going to be on their platform, it makes sense to make more shorts. As much as I don't want to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see.
Yep. So really quick, Alvin Watkins, and just a heads up, just a reminder, because I've grabbed a couple of these out of the chat. I do want to let you know that if you do have a question, make sure you put it in the form that's down in the description, because that's where we're really taking the questions from. But there's just a few of these that I can just answer really quickly. So here on Alvin Watkins says, what's the best time to go live? So if you have any data on your YouTube channel, or enough data on your YouTube channel, inside of your YouTube analytics, your stats for your YouTube channel, YouTube under the audience tab is going to show you a graph that shows you when your viewers are online. Go live when your viewers are online. So it's going to show you that. And if you don't have that graph, then you want to think about who it is that you're trying to reach, what their day-to-day might look like in terms of, is it somebody that would be watching in the morning, somebody that would be, you know, coming to hang out after work, you know, that type of thing. And then you publish your live streams at that time, because that's you know, the people that you're trying to reach at that time, in whatever starting time zone it is that you would start that, you know, start that for the people that you're trying to reach. Let's see here. So next up, we've got, scheduling all that stuff out is completely fine when it comes to, you know, batching and getting everything published. So let's see here. So next up, we've got travel with Nicholas. Travel with Nicholas. They upload 1 time per week or more. They've been on YouTube for less than a year. They do travel content. Goal of the channel is to quit their job and be a full-time content creator. And the question is, I want help getting more views on my videos, so help with packaging. So let's take a look. Do I have a link to your channel? Yes, I do. Let's get you up here, see what you're working with. Okay, I think we've pulled you up before. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add this over here. Okay, so right out of the gate, this is rude. I didn't realize these things were rude in the Nordics. Okay, so you have the imagery in there letting people know that, you know, it's about those places, which is fine. I thought Scandinavia was the same. I was completely wrong. Yeah, I think this is fine. I'm not sure what you mean in terms of the same, right? From the packaging on the outside, like same as what, right? I would definitely work on clarity there. I was completely wrong about Poland after living in Norway. Yeah, I think that's good. Love how you put the as an American on here. So just right out of the gate, right? A quick thing. is at least on these last two, because you also have As an American here, but this one got 2.5 thousand, which is still, you know, kind of okay for the channel. But here you have, I was completely wrong about the Nordic countries. As an American, you got 20,000 views on that one. Completely wrong about Poland after living in Norway. As an American, 7.7 thousand on that one. So I don't know if it's, you know, the topic itself, or you put together just a really good video. But, you know, with this working on these two, I would try to keep that theme going if you can. Like when you find things like that, and again, it could be something else that might not be the thing. But to me, as an American, this would instantly make this more interesting to me specifically. If I was European, might not matter. Or if I was, you know, Asian, you know, it might not matter. But as an American, you know, it's definitely, you know, something that would make this more interesting. But I would definitely, you know, try to work those types of things into your titles just to see, like, okay, consistently, if I work these into the titles, do the videos seem to do better? And a great experiment that you could run literally right now is you could say, I thought Scandinavia was the same as whatever it is, you know, that you're comparing it against, and then I was completely wrong, and then do like As an American, right? And just try to work that in, you know, as much as you can. Yeah, I would actually focus on that right now, trying to just kind of follow themes that you know, that have worked. And yeah, and see if that makes a difference at all. And like right now, because you have this underperforming video, see if that makes a difference there, and then add it to this and see if it makes a difference on this one and causes this one to get any momentum. If it does, and you notice a change on both of these after you make that change, then I would kind of commit to getting the As an American into the messaging there. So I'd just run that experiment first. Let's see here. So really quick, Joyce says, why did manage videos disappear from my husband's channel? He shares my account. Please help. So go into your YouTube settings inside of, so let me just kind of walk you through this. So I can't show you my screen because it'll expose email addresses and stuff of people that I, you know, have given access to my channel. But when it comes to this, all you have to do is when you log into your Creator Studio, down on the bottom left-hand side, you're going to see a settings option. Click into that, and then it's going to open up a box. And here, let me just put this on screen real quick. It's going to open up a box, and then from there, in that box, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth option down on the left is permissions. If you click on that, go into there and make sure that your husband is still added there. If not, click the invite button, add his email, and then send him an invite there, and then that should reconnect everything for you. I'm not sure why it's not, you know, if he had the access and he doesn't now, I'm not sure, you know, what would have caused that to disconnect. But, you know, sometimes things like that happen, so I would just go through that process to see if that gets it sorted for you. Okay. Oh, yeah, and Doug also mentioned here, thanks, Doug, says you may need to switch accounts in the account switcher too. So in order to do that, if you go to YouTube under your account, and then you go up to the very top right-hand side and click on your profile picture, then you're going to see underneath, you're going to see Google account, switch account, and sign out. If you click on switch account, then from there you should see the drop down, or he should see the drop down. That will give him that, that will allow him to access that too. Thanks for that addition there, Doug. Appreciate it. So next up on the list, we have, okay, we did traveling with Nicholas already. Okay, so the next question we have is from Lisa's Story Corner. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do kids educational content. The goal of the channel is to teach others. And the question is it generally harder to monetize kids channels? Yeah. So with kids channels, you can do sponsorships, you can get lots of views, you know, on kids content and all that stuff. But in a lot of cases, you just don't have all the options that you have for, you just don't have the options for a lot of the, you know, a lot of the options that you have when you're not targeting kids. So, you know, for example, you guys can't even like use your comment section and stuff like that. So you definitely have limitations in terms of what it is that you can do when it comes to that. So next up on the list here, we have the Comm Center. Comm Center uploads 1 time per week or more. They do true crime content. The goal of the channel is to teach others. And the question is, are we being held back from discovery because of the content choices, or is it our delivery? So let's see what it is that you are offering here. See what you got going on. Yeah, so let's see. You've got 11,000 subscribers on the channel. Here you've got 157 views, 394 views, 82 views. Your thumbnails look AI generated. I don't know if they are or not, but some of them, like these firemen, definitely look AI generated. Here, we'll pull this up real quick. Yeah, there's that too. Karen Cole mentioned here as well that there's a push to not allow kids online in the UK. Yeah, in addition to that, Australia has already put things in place where kids under 12, I think it is, can't have, or 16, can't have social media accounts, that kind of stuff. And other places around the world are starting to catch on to that too, which is going to make it even harder, for kids' channels. So yeah, so you're dealing with all kinds of stuff, kind of pushing the boulder uphill when it comes to kids' content. But let's see here. So yeah, looking at your channel, the end of the abduction, 9/11 calls that should have saved Denise after Lee inside the system. What does this say? Yeah, that let her down. Yeah, it's probably just the actual packaging of this. Like, I don't know what's happening in the video content itself. But yeah, the packaging by itself, a true crime person might find this interesting in some way. But here, the 9/11 calls that should have saved Denise Amber Lee. So the qualifier for this is that you would need to, and by qualifier, I mean the thing that, might cause somebody to want to, check this out. You would possibly need to care about who Denise Amber Lee is, right, in order for this to qualify here. And, if you know about her, then, this would be interesting to you. But if you don't, then, people might just skip right past this, when it comes to that. So if you're going to do this sort of thing, maybe instead of just using the name, which creates a barrier, so to speak, try to, unless this is a super famous case. If it is, then you're fine. But if it's not, then try to generalize this a little bit instead of making it about a specific person. So I would do those sorts of things. Of course, we can't watch the content here on the stream, but I would mess with those types of things when it comes to how you're packaging everything up here. And then from there, even though you don't have a lot of activity now, like on this one, you got 394 views, so it does give you some information. Here you've got 1,000 views, 4,000 views. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere in terms of, people have responded to some of these, which is good. So what I would definitely do is I would go in and start looking at the retention on these, the ones that have already done well on the channel, anything over 1,000 views, and then compare those, the retention and click-through rate, against the ones here that are underperforming. So if you have videos on the channel that have done well like this, and then now you have videos that are not doing well, it's the decisions that you're making around the content and how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. It's not YouTube holding you back. It's around the content that you're putting out and the decisions that you're making around that. Like if every video that you had on the channel had like 38 views on it, then in that case, you'd be like, okay, maybe, it's just not getting in front of the right audience, and maybe you need to be a little bit more strategic when it comes to how you're packaging everything up. But in your case, like you've got, a video on there with like 60,000 views on it, others with like 1,000 views, 4,000 views, stuff like that. So when you miss the mark, even big channels, right? Like you can see, like on Mr. Beast's channel, for example, which is like the biggest channel on YouTube, like when he publishes the videos that is a perfect fit for his audience, he gets, tons and tons of views on them. But then when he publishes a video about, like, hey, me from, 5 years, ago or whatever the thing is, in those videos, even though people find them interesting, they still get tons of views because they're into him. But they just don't perform as well because they're not that, perfect fit for the audience. So, so those types of things impact channels of every size, from, the creator just starting out to the biggest channels on YouTube. Let's see here. So next up, we've got, okay, we did the Comm Center already. So next up, we've got Luke's the Fox. They upload when they have time, but on YouTube for less than a year. They do art and gaming content. The goal of the channel is to have fun. And the question is, what editing or animation app do you suggest besides from Adobe? And I'm on mobile. D? So editing on mobile, by the way, you can use CapCut, you can use Premiere. I know you said not Adobe, but they have a free app, a free Premiere app that you can use. But yeah, CapCut is a normal one for people. And
But they're looking for animation?
Well, editing or animation app. So for an editing app, yeah, CapCut's a solid call, but they have some weird licensing stuff. And then Adobe. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, I don't know about animation, but in terms of just mobile editing, I would go. I mean, CapCut's still great despite their TOS change. So CapCut, you have VN. VN is solid.
VN. Oh yeah, I forgot about VN.
InShot is good. YouTube, and again, I don't know how advanced your editing is. YouTube has the new one. What's it called? Edits. What is YouTube's new one called? I always forget the name. YouTube Create, which is pretty basic. So I don't know where you're at in terms of your editing skills.
Yeah, Instagram has one too.
Yeah.
That's called Edits, I think.
I got it mixed up. Edits and
hey,
YouTube
Chris,
Create.
thanks for your support for 39 months. Appreciate it, man.
So yeah, I would go with one of those. VN, CapCut.
Yep.
Because you don't want, because Adobe Premiere. I know you said you don't want Adobe, but Adobe Premiere is great.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So next up, we've got Build and Fix with Mooney, my man. Hope you're doing great. Uploads one time per week or more, been on YouTube for 1 year or more, does DIY woodworking content. The goal of the channel is to teach others. The question is, after I reach 100,000 subscribers on this channel, I love how you're owning that.
Yeah.
You're like, after I reach 100,000 subscribers, love
Yep.
it. But I mean, you're on your way. So, so you should own that. But says, I'm thinking of a new channel. The new channel will take place at our cabin in the mountains, a very well-known 4-season destination mountain resort in Southern California. I don't want to be a travel channel, but maybe an informational channel through my stories with 3 to 4 buckets. This mountain community has everything from the lake, snowboarding, fishing tours, lots of restaurants. In my head each day or each video has to be laid out with a purpose. I'm thinking of a channel named Life on a Hilltop or something cheesy. Please give me some advice since you both are world travelers. So what do you want to see Mooney do on this next channel? Yeah, so I think the channel name is fine. Super easy to remember, right? Just like a little short, kind of sentence there, short phrase. I think that's great. D, yeah, because you watch that type of content, don't you?
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying you watch that type of content, so I think you might be more qualified to answer this question in terms of what somebody might want from that.
Yeah,
compared to me.
I think you need to really drill down who you want to make videos for, because there's different types of people who are interested in that sort of stuff. So I watch all sorts of mountain life and people who are building these sustainable compounds and stuff like that. So some people make videos targeting people who just want to watch them. Like, I just want to watch you build your thing. I want to show you, show me how you're putting your chicken coop together. I want to watch you build your solar. I'm never going to do that stuff, but I enjoy watching them do it. Step by step.
So it's entertainment.
It's entertainment, but you're kind of living vicariously through them, right? I'm not, as much as I want to move to the mountains somewhere, I'm not going to move to the mountains somewhere. So I'm just like watching them build this entire compound. Brian G.
Brian G. Johnson in the house. Brian G. Johnson's the author of Tube Ritual Volume 1. Helps you go from 0 to 5,000 subscribers and more on your YouTube channel. Get this on Amazon. Go get it. I hope you're doing great, Brian. Nice seeing you here.
I've also seen
Melinda.
Channels that are really interesting, but they're really good at storytelling, and they're just documenting their life. They're just up there just documenting what they do. Are they hunting? Or, or what are they doing? Are they homeschooling? I think there's different ways to do it. Or do you want to teach people what you're doing up there? Do you want to show others how to do it? Do you want people to live through you? Do you want people to daydream? Like, what is it you're trying to accomplish with that? I watch all of that stuff. I think the coolest thing, though, is just giving the perspective, especially now. Like, we're just so bombarded with technology 24/7. Everything is just, it's on nonstop.
It's on and popping.
So, like, yeah, I like putting on my headphones, and I just like watching rural content. They're not all in the mountains, but I just think there's something about just kind of disconnecting and turning. And it's got to sound good. I'll tell you that. I
don't live in the city, so I don't get that vibe.
I want to be able to put in my headphones, and I want it to sound good. If you're outside, I want to hear nature. So make sure you use good microphones. That's my take.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. That's why I watch that stuff. Yeah.
So next up.
A little escape.
Next. Pulling the ripcord. Like, I got to get out of this, all these screens, and well, I guess you'd still be watching the screen.
You're
So,
still watching
yeah.
the screen, but like it's almost immersive, right? Like I'll enlarge it, and it's just relaxing, and it's very cinematic. It sounds good. They're using good mics, and it just kind of like. It's just a little bit of an escape. So
there was one thing that's kind of like that, but not really, that I watched just a handful of times. And I just thought, just because it was so like weird, because you know, like a lot of content on YouTube, how it's just kind of all over the place. Hey, what's going on? So with this one, it was a guy. It was a van life channel, and he didn't talk. He would just go and just drive into these places, and he would like get all this stuff out of the van
and cook.
And it's like raining, and he sets up like a tent.
He
sets up the tent, and then he gets out his like little cooking things, and he's out there like cooking, and it's just all ASMR, like all of it. Like the audio is just next level. Everything's just crisp, and you can hear all the detail of everything he's doing. Unzipping his bags, and you get to hear all that, like everything about it. It's like you're fully immersive, like you're saying. To where he just kind of puts you like you're right there with
what
him.
I'm saying.
Camping out.
There are a couple channels like that where they just go out and get camp and they don't say a word. And they'll go down by the stream, and then they'll get a rock out of the stream and clean it, and they'll cook on it, catch the fish and cook on the thing. And you're just like watching. It just sounds amazing. You hear the nature. So
it's pretty cool.
It's just you got to think about how you're going to approach it. You know, but I don't think you're going to go wrong. You're going to be in an interesting environment, so you're not going to go wrong. You just need to think about what angle you're going to take to tell whatever story it is that you're trying to tell.
Yeah, and I think with that too, I think one of the cool things about it, or the opportunities that you have in a situation like that. And I'm not saying to make voiceless content, but one of the cool things that you have about a situation like that though is it opens you up internationally, because somebody doesn't have to be able to understand what it is. So with that one, you just go, you translate all your titles, all that stuff into all the different languages that you want to reach, and then from there, anybody in the world can come in and enjoy your content without feeling alienated in any way.
Perfect example. How many people have seen those Asian guys go into the jungle and dig?
Oh yeah, right here.
Right here. There's always like two little Asian dudes with like a little broken hoe, little bamboo handle with like a shell on the end of it, and they end up building like an underground bunker with a swimming pool. You're just like, what?
And that was before the AI versions of it. Have you seen people are doing AI versions of that now too?
Yeah. You know those guys are salty.
I know, they're like, come on, we're out there like sweating it out.
You mean we could have just waited?
I know. Right. Timing though, right? That's one of those scenarios where timing's the win.
Yeah.
So next up on our list here, we have Matt's Vietnam Life. Matt's Vietnam Life uploads one time per week or more. The whole channel is about travel, life, and culture in Vietnam. Goal of the channel is to teach others. And the question is, do you think uploading videos in different countries impacts on reach and views? For example, if travel vloggers move from country to country and upload as they go. Likewise, does using a VPN have an impact, either positively or negative as well? Started using one here in Vietnam, sometimes set in a different country location. So no, doesn't matter in terms of where you're uploading your videos from. It matters the language that your video's in, how those videos are optimized in terms of the language they're optimized for. YouTube even has settings inside of the video details page where you can choose the language, that sort of thing, and it doesn't matter. So I started my channel in Asia. So no problems in terms of where you upload from. When it comes to travel channels, the upload location isn't the thing that usually impacts them negatively. The thing that usually impacts travel channels negatively is that they will upload videos on, like, let's say Vietnam, for example, and they'll do a 3 to 6 month run in Vietnam where they build up this whole audience of people that are interested in Vietnam, and then they'll switch to Thailand. And then now you have all these people that care about Vietnam and they're interested in seeing all this stuff about Vietnam. And then they start getting presented Thailand content. So they don't care about it. So therefore, initially, those videos can sometimes have, a harder time getting reach. And then as you start breaking things up to where it's like, okay, I'm in Vietnam, I got a bunch of videos on that, a bunch of videos on Thailand, a bunch of videos on the Philippines, a bunch of videos on Malaysia, a bunch of videos, and you start going through the whole thing. Then in that case, you just start segmenting who's interested in what. So you can be in a fortunate position, with your content, like somebody like Patty Doyle, where he can go all over the place and he'll still get views, but he has his core content that that always performs well because that's his base. So because of that, your location can make a difference because you're talking about different things, but in terms of where you upload from, it doesn't make a difference. Now, one thing that you might want to consider is depending on who it is that you're uploading to. Like, for example, if you're trying to reach the English-speaking market, then in that case, like one of the things that we do here is we'll upload, usually somewhere between like 6 and 9 p.m., like midnight, maybe, if it's, okay, probably wasn't going to publish this, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. So that you can just make sure that you're publishing, at a time that the audience that you're trying to reach, that they're awake, so that you can get your videos in front of them first. Long term doesn't really, matter, but at the end of the day, so that you can get that initial velocity on the video, I would definitely make sure that you are uploading in the time zone of the target audience that you're trying to reach, or the starting time zone. So for example, for me, I'd be targeting like East Coast in the US, right, would be my starting time zone.
Now,
and KDP Ministry says it makes a difference. So when it comes to where you upload from, it doesn't.
Yeah, not on YouTube.
Yeah.
For other social media.
Oh, yeah, it definitely does on other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, for TikTok,
yes.
and we've seen that on TikTok especially. For Instagram, it does.
Yeah.
You can break out of those regional jails that TikTok and Instagram put you in, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see that big time on TikTok.
Yeah, it's really
like when
bad
you're traveling
TikTok.
around. It's like, okay, we've got like a Thailand audience here. I know when I went to Dubai and I was uploading videos, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like getting in front of Dubai here.
Right.
So I had to turn on the VPN in order to like get them. And I know you mentioned that you had that issue in Mexico.
Yeah.
As well. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next up on our list here, we've got Imperial Remnant.
Yeah, literally my audience went from 100% English speaking to like 90% Spanish speaking in a day.
That's wild.
Like in a single video.
Yeah, it's
and
wild.
then it just all went from there. It was crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So next up we have Imperial Remnant. Hope you're doing awesome. Says he does daily content, but on YouTube for a year more. It's Star Wars lore. Goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, my CTR is low, 2.7%. I'm thinking it's the title and thumbnails. In the past, you gave me some principles to fix them. And I thought I'd taken your advice, but got no improvement over the last 12 to 16 weeks. Hope you could help me with upping my CTR. Let's take a look and see what it is that you're doing. So, Pure Remnant Podcast.
The Remnant Podcast. I vaguely remember looking at this thumbnail. The channel with thumbnails.
All right. So in terms of the imagery, you're knocking it out of the park with the Star Wars imagery. So you're doing that right.
Good.
How did the 501st become Vader's fist? Yeah. So I think these types of things are fine in terms of how you are currently putting your thumbnails together. I would think, and you can verify this on your end, but I would think that more popular and obvious characters might stand out, a little bit more. But like this one here, is not how did the Rebel Alliance, get its fleet?
Oh, yeah,
it could just be the questions that you're asking. So here's some things that I would experiment with. Is here you have like how did the 501st become Vader's fist? How did the Rebel Alliance get its fleet? Why Umbrella feels like a Star Wars horror? So I would experiment with questions versus statements and see if that makes a difference for you. And then also really just kind of digging into the, to what is it that people care about Star Wars the most, and trying to make sure that your videos are about those things. Because here you have, did Skeleton Crew get better on rewatch? Like here, for example, I don't know for this particular series, but like in this case, did Skeleton Crew get better on rewatch? I would definitely do mention Star Wars in here, right? Same exact thing with some of these other ones. Like this one's obvious, right? How did the 501st become Vader's first? Get into a little bit more detail here. Why did the 501st Stormtrooper, how would you classify that, D? 501st Stormtrooper what?
Or what are they asking? How did the 501st become Vader's first?
Vader's fist.
Vader's fist?
Yeah. So what would it be? 501st Stormtrooper Battalion? Is that what it would be?
Yeah, I guess so.
But just trying to get specific. I mean, it's obviously about, Stormtroopers and stuff, but, just being specific about those types of things. And there's two reasons for that. One is you're already nailing the imagery, in my opinion. But when it comes to here, just making sure that you are, mentioning that it is Star Wars here. So that one, even though it's obviously about it here, you just have those words in your titles here. So if somebody's looking around for things about Star Wars, things like that, then, it's possible that YouTube could just make all those connections and be like, hey, this title, which is one of the heaviest weighted things, about your video, it also has Star Wars in here, so let's show it to some Star Wars people, that kind of stuff.
Some Star Wars people.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I would spend time on ideas because I think in your case, like the ideas are going to be the things that make the biggest difference. So I would really spend time on ideas. And other things too is like if you're doing things about the lore, then you're throwing a wrench into it when you're talking about like Legos, right? Because, you know, I mean, there could be crossover here. I'm not sure. But like if you are doing just regular lore stuff and then you throw Legos into the mix, then you're putting yourself in a position to where you could be, you know, bringing in the wrong people, you know, to the channel, you know, for that, to where, you know, people come in for the Lego and not necessarily the Star Wars, or the combo of Lego and Star Wars, you don't have anything else to offer them, then that starts making it to where it'll be harder for those people to, you know, watch additional content.
Yeah, and things like going back to the Skeleton Crew, did Skeleton Crew get it better on rewatch? It just, to me, that's just not an interesting idea. You know, what if you approached it from the angle of things that you may have missed in Skeleton Crew, right? Presenting some sort of element of curiosity. Ooh, what did I miss? Or things you didn't understand, or something. Do I want to see what your take is on this versus like the rewatch.
Yeah. So yeah, 501st Legion, Stormtrooper Legion, yeah.
But they said they want to improve their CTR.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
visually though, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think visually fine. I think the thing that's going to help you the most is just ideas.
Yeah.
Ideas, and then kind of reframing these, making them, you know, things that people feel like they need to click on.
Yeah.
Because this is definitely interesting, right? Like, how did the 501st become Vader's fist? It is interesting from a topic perspective, but there's nothing really like triggering about it. This is something that somebody could put in their watch later and forget about.
Yeah.
And what you want to think about is when it comes to, you know, your videos, is you want to think about, okay, if this shows up on a homepage of a Star Wars fan, somebody that's interested in Star Wars lore, how can I, from a topic standpoint, you work on this before you make the video, but how can I package this in a way or just make this about something that somebody that's interested in Star Wars lore, if they saw this on their homepage, they'd be like, oh my gosh, what is this about?
Yeah, I
want
to watch this out right now.
Right. So instead of making it something that people, you know, might be able to, you know, just kind of gloss over, you know, trying to make it, you know, more impactful.
Make me care.
Yeah. So next up on the list here. Next up on the list. We've got yeah, I have no idea. Just kind of came out. The Walk Podcast. And you did it too. That was great. Yeah, we both just kind of went down that little journey for a second.
On the list there.
Yeah, that was great.
Talking about the podcasting.
The Walk Podcast, we have another podcast here, uploads one time per week or more. It's a podcast. The goal of the channel is to be a full-time creator. And the question is, should we try new thumbnails and titles? So before I look at the channel, I'm just going to mention that if what you're currently doing isn't working, then in that case, continuing to do the thing that doesn't work is, you know, going to work against you. So always experimenting with, you know, trying to, you know, do new stuff in order to get the thing that you're doing working better is definitely something to consider. But let's see what we got going on here. Hey. Okay. What are you going to say, D?
Oh, I was just going to say hello to Tish.
Okay, so let's see what it is that you got going on here in the Walk Podcast, where we stride along Christian athletes as they share their journeys of faith, perseverance, and triumph, both on and off the field. And then you go into your mission stuff. Okay, so this is Christian sports players here. So you're already leveraging the player, which is solid. You're putting the player name, you know, in the thumbnail, which is smart. You're putting the player image in the thumbnail, which is smart. You're using the imagery for the team that they play on, which is also smart. From a thumbnail perspective, I think you're heading in the right direction. Diego Pounds, Carolina, the Old Miss, surrendering to God in college football. Okay, so what you're doing right here is you're trying to cram a bunch of stuff into this title. So basically you have the guy's name, which is smart. You have Carolina to Ole Miss, and then surrendering to God and challenging the football playoff.
So a lot going on there.
If you're trying to increase your click-through rate, try to take the person's name and try to work that into just one relatively short sentence that doesn't get truncated here on YouTube's. Because you can see right here how, you know, right after football, we go into the 3 dots there, so it's getting truncated. So because of that, work on getting everything that you need into these first like 52, 53-ish characters so it doesn't get cut off here on YouTube. And then from that, try to make it just like one nice, strong statement about that player. So instead of trying to focus the conversation on like, hey, these are all the different things that we talked about, picked the thing that was the most interesting or the most powerful in terms of like, okay, yeah, people interested in this player would really care about this, and optimize everything around that, right? Because you're already doing the right things in terms of you're focusing on the player, their names, all that. So the next thing is to just add a little bit more clarity to your titles. Yes, I'd work on that as the next thing for you.
Brian G says, nice to be listening to these two fellas again.
Brian G. Johnson.
Brian, you're going to change your handle?
The man, the myth.
You're going to drop the TV off the username, Brian?
Change it to AI. Brian G. Johnson AI. Yeah, instead of TV.
Yep.
So let's see. So next up on our list, and by the way, if you are just joining us, we're answering YouTube questions. We're talking about all things related to YouTube. So if you're a YouTube content creator, you're in the right place. We talk about all kinds of different stuff. This is all driven by the questions that get put into the form that we have linked down in the description. If you have a question about anything you're doing on YouTube, you can put it into the form that's down in the description, and then we should be able to get it answered on the stream today. So so that's where the questions are coming from. So if you do have anything, get it into there. And yeah, so that's what's going on. That's what's happening.
That's what's happening.
That's what's happening. Right
That's
here.
what it
That's
is.
what's happening.
Brian GPT.
Yep, Brian GPT. Love it.
There you go.
That's great.
Yeah.
Brian GPT. There's a cat GPT on TikTok.
Huh?
Yeah.
What's it doing?
Yeah, her name's Cat GPT instead of Chat GPT. I thought that was
Cat
clever.
GPT.
But she talks about all kinds of different AI related things, but I just thought that was clever. So, Dr. Vibe Show is the next question. I love that you also put the TM in here, even when putting it into the to the form. So they do daily content, but on YouTube for a year or more. Does news and information for Black people and those who love them. The goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, hope that both of you are fine and safe. Yep, doing way better. Feel safe. Yep, thank you. For some of my videos that I have set to A/B testing, YouTube is telling me not enough views to determine a winner. How many views does a video need to have for YouTube to provide results for A/B testing of thumbnails and titles? I'm not sure the exact number that they give for that, but it needs to be enough that it's statistically significant based on the amount of people that they're showing it to. So I'm not sure what that number is in terms of it has to cross this view count. Not really sure, and I'm not sure as a part of that if they also look at it as, okay, here's total views, and therefore we got the information from total views, or if they look at it and they say, okay, we need X amount of views from home pages, we need X amount of views from the subscription feed, we need X amount or impressions, we need X amount of impressions from suggested videos. Like, I'm not sure how they break it down that way. I have no idea.
It can be really frustrating to try to do a test, and then you're waiting for 7 days or something, or however long it is.
And other times it'll say that it's going to take 7 days, and then they'll give you a result the next day. Yeah, because you've accumulated enough information for it to be significant.
I think ideally YouTube wouldn't unlock that for a video unless it matters, unless it qualified to be able to get the test. Yep. Otherwise, you're putting in the work and you're focusing on this thing and you're spending time on this thing. You're like, you don't have enough views. Yep. It's inconclusive. Yep. It's really frustrating.
Okay, so we did the Walk podcast. So
Doug says, notice YouTube gave up calling it a test and compare.
Okay, and it's the Walk podcast again. So we already answered that one. So we'll keep going. Okay, Voidless Guy is the next channel. They upload when they have time. They do gaming, music, animation, and art. Goal of the channel is to have fun. And they say it's all for fun, and I stand by the old YouTube idea. Mark Pyler, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, miss old YouTube. The question is, as far as I'm aware, the quality is not what matters, but rather the quantity. The algorithm prioritizes consistency over inconsistent uploads. Those might be higher quality, but they don't perform as well. Is this a fact that applies to all YouTube? This really feels unfair to the created content. So when it comes to YouTube, YouTube prioritizes content that people respond well to. That's what they respond to. So there's some channels that upload one time per month and they get millions of views per upload, or hundreds of thousands of views per upload. Other channels upload every single day and they don't get any views at all. So it's not the quantity of the of the uploads that you do. It's the experience that people have when they're interacting with that content that you're publishing. So because of that, if you're publishing, videos every day and people aren't responding to them, then you can just keep on publishing videos every day and people are still not going to respond to it because you're focused on publishing and not on trying to make the experience better for viewers, right? So because of that, it's not that quality doesn't matter. It's all quantity. That's not the case at all. So when you are using YouTube Shorts, publishing, a lot of shorts can be helpful in some cases, but the same rule applies there. Some people hardly publish shorts, and when they publish them, they do well. Other people publish 3 times a day, and their shorts, don't get hardly any views whatsoever. So when it comes to, the quantity thing, that's definitely not a thing. Now, if we zoom out and we're like, okay, well, what if you have really good videos that people respond to and you're publishing a lot? Well, in that case, then, you're putting more into the system that people respond well to. And if you continue to do that, then you start, showing up in front of people a lot. They start getting used to seeing your content. They start watching and engaging with your content a lot. And as long as they continue to do that and they don't get burned out because you're uploading a lot, which, they won't, then in that case, then you're like green flag to start publishing lots of quality content at high quantities, right? But first you got to get the quality thing sorted. And when it comes to quality, just, to make it clear for, anybody here that's new, it's not necessarily, sometimes it is, but it's not necessarily about, you're the camera quality, it's not necessarily about having, like the best microphone audio or anything like that. It's about if you publish videos and viewers respond to them for whatever reason, then that shows YouTube that, hey, this is a good video. People are enjoying this, and they keep showing it to more people. If you publish something, even if you have the best cameras, all that stuff, and people just aren't responding to it well, then YouTube's not going to show that content to people because people don't respond to it, even if you have, the best stuff. So by quality, I don't necessarily mean technical quality. I mean quality in terms of the viewers that YouTube is showing your content to. They have a great experience with your content. They enjoy it. They're engaging with it. They're watching it for long periods of time. Maybe they're exploring more. They're going to your channel page, seeing what else you have to offer. They're binge watching your content, all those things. That's what quality looks like on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen so many channels over the years. Mm-hmm. I'll cover this for a second. I've seen so many channels over the years just brute force uploading. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are new. They come in just guns a-blazing. They have tons of energy. Brute force uploading, just video after video after video after video after video after video. And like a lot of people say, okay, well, you need to upload 50 videos. You need to upload 100 videos. You need to get a lot of content online to kind of see what works and what doesn't work. And some people will take that and think, well, I just need to upload a lot of content. The thing is you have to make sure that the content that you're uploading is getting better. You need to make sure you're heading in the right direction. You need to make sure that you are still choosing the right ideas. And just brute force uploading generally isn't the answer to that. And a lot of people make that mistake. Seen it happen over and over and over again. You have to be able to measure what you're uploading. You have to try to improve what you're uploading. You need to try to, okay, my thumbnails need to get better. My ideas need to get better. And Amanda said something earlier. She says, YouTube is constantly evolving. However, the community is key. Don't chase the algorithm, build your community. Yeah, YouTube is always changing. Your audience is always changing. We grow our channels by getting new viewers. But what audiences like is always changing. Mm-hmm. What they expect is always changing. Yep. Trends change. Uh-huh. Yeah, everything is always changing.
Yes.
But yeah, build your community.
And just a reminder, if you are just joining us, if you have any questions about anything you're doing on YouTube, there's a form down in the description where you can put your questions down there. If you put it in there, it'll get answered on the stream today because we still have a decent amount of time. We've crushed through some questions today. So if you're watching this somewhere else, like if you're watching this on like Twitter, LinkedIn, or anywhere else, if you go to nickniman.com/ask, it's going to redirect you directly to this same exact form. So if you have a question about anything you're doing, just go ahead and put it into the form. So Ron Trains and Things, thanks for the super chat.
You got it? Okay.
Yep, super chat. Says, I published my first video of 2026 yesterday, 1 of 10. Nice work. Followed Nick and D for nearly 9 years and still learn new ideas and YouTube updates. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
Thanks, Ron, and congratulations on having the win right out of the gate on 2026. Yeah. That's a great start,
Love it.
Right?
That's a good start.
Yeah. Love it.
Good start.
All right. So next up on the list here, we have Lisa Dawson Music. Lisa uploads when she has time, been on YouTube for a year or more, does music content. Goal of the channel is connect with others who like what they like. Oh, you know what? One thing I forgot to mention.
About what?
While we were talking about the Voidless Guy channel, I think this is it. Yeah. They mentioned that they do gaming, music, animation, and art content. And this is the one where they're talking about quality versus quantity. So I know the goal of the channel is to have fun. So what you're doing there, mixing content, is perfectly fine if the only goal is to have fun. However, if you want to get more activity on your channel, right now you are polluting your YouTube channel with different types of viewers, which is going to make it really hard for you to grow long term. So you're mixing gaming content with music content, and there isn't a crossover there. You're mixing animation with music and animation with gaming, animation with art. Again, no crossover. So what you're doing is for every 4 videos that you upload, they're relevant to each video is relevant to one type of person, right? So because of that, 3 are not. So because of that, just keep that in mind. If you are trying to, get more activity on what it is that you're doing, make sure that you are thinking about it through the lens of you're building a resource of content for a particular type of person that's interested in very specific things. But if you're just doing it to have fun, you don't care about, the results and stuff, then in that case, just, you can keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, okay, back on Lisa.
Keep on keeping on.
Yep, keep on keeping on. So the question is, hey, Nick and D.
Hey.
Says, just wondering if it's still as important to post on a regular schedule. I used to post every Friday morning. It was really, I was really diligent about it, but life got in the way, and now I just post when I can. I'm lucky if I can manage to post once every 2 weeks. I would like to try and be more consistent this year, but I'm wondering, is it more important to stick to a regular schedule or try to publish as much as I can? For example, thinking of posting one full 3 to 4 minute song every week and try to fill in other days with shorts, but if I manage to get an extra long video out between then, should I? Or stick to a set schedule? And any tips that you have for consistency, please. I don't work a regular 9 to 5, so I struggle with time during the week. Wait, hold on. I don't work a 9 to 5, so I struggle with time during the week. I just grab time when I can. Thanks for all your advice. Okay, so we've got a few different things in here. So the very first is it important to stick to a regular schedule or try to post as much as I can? So if you look at your own situation, when you are not sticking to a regular schedule and you're posting as much as you can, you went from posting consistently and diligently every Friday to now you're posting, every couple of weeks. So by default, that shows you that when you are not posting on that regular schedule, how things just kind of fall out, of priority. So one of the advantages when it comes to posting on a regular schedule is, one, you're putting out new content on a regular basis that YouTube can test against people. So, for every video that you publish to your YouTube channel, it's another video that YouTube can show people to figure out if they like it or not. So that's one advantage. Advantage number 2, when you're trying to be consistent, is that when you are publishing on a regular basis and you do hold yourself, accountable to that. And I know it's hard, we all go through it. But if you are in that, in a phase where you're like, okay, I'm going to be, let's say one of your resolutions was that you're going to be consistent in 2026. Then in that case, making sure that you go through it and that you make that happen, every Friday and that you prioritize it is important, because you're going to force yourself to work the process of creating and publishing content into your lifestyle to a point that it'll become a habit, just like it did when you were diligent about it. So I'm also going to be doing this in 2026 as well. So, I'm right there with you on this, because I've, been super casual on my channel. So I'm also going to be dialing things in here on mine as well this year. But when it comes to, that consistency, I can tell you from personal experience that I was like you in terms of no matter what, I would publish a video every Monday and every Wednesday for years. And that was my growth phase. That was when, most of the growth happened on my YouTube channel. And then as soon as I broke out of that, because I changed my priorities during the pandemic and I started focusing more on just, my day to day and just, really just focusing on enjoying my life from the work that I put in. So I'm still doing the thing, but it wasn't the priority that it was previously. So because of that, since it wasn't that priority and I didn't make publishing no matter what happened on Monday and Wednesday, then what started happening is all of a sudden, a week would go by and I wouldn't publish at all. And then 2 weeks would go by and I wouldn't publish. 3 weeks would go by and didn't publish. If you look at my channel now, my last video, not shorts, but long form videos, my last video was published about a month ago. So when it comes to knocking that out of your lifestyle and that habit out of your lifestyle, it ends up having a long-term impact, not just on the channel, but on your habits. And then once it has that impact on the habits, you have to put in real work in order to get that routine back together and to train yourself back up on consistently doing the thing again. So because of that, if you are trying to, do it, here's what I recommend. And this is what's worked for me in the past anytime I, end up in a situation like this. Right now, if you were having a pain in your mouth, right? And you had to schedule a dentist appointment in order to have them look to see if you had a cavity or to fix whatever was happening, then in that case, you would schedule your doctor's appointment, and regardless of what was happening in your life, you would show up at that doctor's appointment. I mean, not anything that's happening, but most things that are happening. You would prioritize that doctor's appointment, and you would show up there because it would be in your schedule, and you would know that you would have to do it, and you would make it a priority. And then you'd show up. Do that same exact thing. If you want to be consistent, say, okay, on, Mondays, I'm going to work on this. It can be a part of the process, like in your case, because you're writing songs and stuff, you can say, okay, I'm going to be, writing, and mixing, some stuff or recording some stuff on like Monday and Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, maybe I'll do my mix downs and all that. And then I'll work on whatever art or whatever on Thursday and, for a little bit of time. And then I'll publish on, Friday again. And then by scheduling those things in, it helps you be able to stay consistent with what it is that you're doing. So just like anything else that's a priority, if you schedule it, then it ensures that you are going to go do it. So that's what I recommend that you do. All right. Next up on our list here, we have.
I think of consistency also as staying in front of your audience one way or another.
Yeah, it is.
I think
just keep showing up.
Keep showing up. If you are not publishing long form videos, like, okay, I know I've got to do these other things. Life gets in the way, which it does. Life always gets in the way. Try uploading some shorts. Schedule a bunch of community posts if you can. Right? You can schedule community posts for every day if you want to. Just try to do something where you're showing up to some level of consistency for your audience. Because if, out of sight, out of mind, if you were gone for too long, they'll forget about you, they'll move on. So just try to stay in front of them somehow as much as you can. That's how I like to look at consistency.
Hey, and really quick, My Own says, do you need a thumbnail designer? I'm okay right now. Thank you. Thanks for asking. But one thing I recommend if you are looking for work is a lot of people are making a lot of posts on X, sharing, their skills and all that stuff. And they're using that as a way to get in front of people that might be interested in that. In addition to that, you might want to hop on to Upwork.com and, make some posts, there about you offering your services. Hop on Fiverr.com, make some posts there about offering your services. And then also hop over, depending on your skill sets, depending on if you've worked with other content creators, things like that. If so, then you can also go apply over at ytjobs.com because they are also a listing of people that are offering services for YouTubers. So I would check out all of those services to kind of help you get sorted there so that you don't have to, hit chats up and stuff like that trying to get business. But I appreciate the hustle.
Roberto Blake in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Roberto Blake in the house. So just in case you guys don't know, Roberto Blake is the author of Create Something Awesome right here, where he helps you start profiting from your passion on YouTube. Got a link to this down in the description, or you can look for it on Amazon. Roberto is one of the smartest people in this whole thing. Not the book, but I mean in the whole YouTube help space. So he's an excellent person to learn from. So so make sure that you go check that out, and also check out all of his other stuff at awesomecreatoracademy.com and anywhere else that you can follow Roberto Blake. Just Google him. It'll lead you at everything he does.
Roberto is omnipresent.
He is. Yeah.
Easy to find. You can close your eyes and throw something into social media and find Roberto.
And there's Roberto.
And there you'll find him. He's everywhere.
He said he's currently posting shorts every day now. It's helping me get out of my rut as well for 2026.
Love it.
I just started. I published a short yesterday. I published one loosely, the previous week. But I've got I think somewhere around 90 shorts that are ready to go. I've already published some to the channel. So I'm going to be doing the same exact thing.
Melanie, hashtag awkward comeback 2026.
Right. So Amy Johnson says, and I think this is in reference to the consistency, saying it's so hard to get back into the habit. Yeah, so a friend of ours, his name is Evan Carmichael, and one of the things that he talks...
Evan's so amazing.
He's amazing. But one of the things that Evan talks about is momentum. And the thing is when you work the process of creating and publishing content into your schedule to where it becomes a routine, then what happens is it allows you to start picking up real momentum, because with every publish you do, you can learn from it, and then when you're learning from it, then you can start making changes. When you start making those changes, then you can experiment faster because you're publishing more and you're staying consistent and all those things. And it's just like one thing stacks on top of the other, which stacks on top of the other, which stacks on top of the other.
Compounding.
And the next thing you know, you're like, whoa, I'm like thriving right now. This is great. So the momentum side of things, I think, is really undervalued when it comes to all of this.
That works. That's how success happens. Yeah. And that's how failure happens. It's all your decisions. Right. Like, and you don't realize it until you're in that spot. Right. And that spot can be either way. That spot can be, and it's all through your choices. That spot can be, wow, I'm actually where I wanted to be, or I'm somewhere where I never thought I would be, or how did I end up here? I'm screwed. Right. Like, whichever way you want to go, it's all coming from the choices that you're going to make. But it compounds. It does. In both directions. So you really have to be careful with that. It works both ways.
Really does. Yeah. So Chad on the road is our next question here. Chad uploads 1 time per week or more, been on YouTube for a year or more.
Chad on the road only needs to upload once a week.
They do travel and exploring vlog. The goal is to be a full-time creator. And the question is, I'm so close to getting 1,000 subscribers, but I just can't quite get there. Hang in there. You got this. Yeah. Right? Like I understand. Like, you're like, hey, I'm on the verge of getting monetized here. I'm like, doing the thing. I'm getting ready to cross that huge milestone. Hang in there. You'll get there. Like, if you've gotten close, then you have proof of concept. You know that people, appreciate what it is that you're doing. So now you have to keep going, keep fine tuning things. But the rest of the question is, been stuck short of that goal for a while. Do you have any suggestions to help me get over that goal? And is my channel banner okay, or does it need more color? So right now, if you're trying to get 1,000 subscribers, you can absolutely make sure that that your channel banner is looks good and all that stuff, and that it has clarity on what it is that you're offering. You can make sure all those things. But if you really want to get that 1,000 subscribers, then focus everything on the video content right now, so that you can. I mean, those other things, if you have time, dial those into, like channel art and value proposition and understanding what you're offering and all that. But right now, I would focus on just getting the videos out there that you think that people are going to enjoy, and learning how to make them as good as possible. So I'm looking at your channel right now, and here you have. I went searching for a forgotten railway. Here, I'll pull this up.
Are you going to? Yeah, I was going to ask if you're going to pull it up.
So you have. I went searching for a forgotten railway bridge. What I found in the woods right here on this one. This has 7,000 views on it. Everything else that you have doesn't even compare remotely.
Oh yeah, they nailed that one, didn't they?
Yeah. So because of that. A couple things that I would do is I would just go in and dissect this video. Yeah. So of course I went searching for a forgotten railway bridge. What I found in the woods. All that's great, from a packaging perspective, but people responded well to this video, which is what caused it to get 7.3 thousand views. So because of that, the first thing that I would do is I would go into this video, because it's an outlier on your YouTube channel. I would go into this and I would say, okay, it wasn't recent. But I would go into that and I would say, okay, if people respond, oh yeah, it was. Okay, so if people responded really well to this one, then in that case, what did I do when this video first started? Well, like when it first started, was there anything that I was doing differently than what I was doing with these? So looking at the hover autoplay here, right out of the gate, it looks like here, you're like in motion, you're talking. Well, this is like you're walking quickly here, like, all that.
Can I just say, too, that thumbnail, not on any map, that is way more curious to me. Like, what do you mean it's not on a map? Versus like no traffic or bridge to nowhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just not on a map. You instantly have my attention. Yeah. Ooh, something's not on a map.
Yep. Other things, too, that's important to think about is like on this one, right? I walked across in a Brandon bridge that was left behind. There's nothing interesting about that. Right. Right? Like there's nothing really that's being offered there, because you're basically just saying you walked across an abandoned bridge. So it's like, what? Right? Like, why should I care about that? But if you had a, you wouldn't believe what I found, or, something like that, similar to what you did down here.
What was under the bridge?
Right.
What'd you find on it?
Right.
Under the bridge.
Right. Just, like trying to make these more interesting is definitely something to do. Exploring an old office building, what I found left behind. I think that's a better approach. And it's gotten so far, it's gotten more views than this one. But, you did that here, what I left behind, and it's a little bit better. Here, Indiana's Lost Bridge, built with no road on the other side. Again, there's no real information here. It still did better than your most recent one, but it's been online for 3 weeks, so this one might get there. But here, Indiana's Lost Bridge, built with no road on the other side. There's nothing like super impactful about this. Like in your case, man, what I would do is I would go and I would study other YouTube channels that do similar content to you. And what I would have you do is I would go and I would start looking at how they're framing everything and how they're using their titles to just create curiosity. And I would start trying to replicate how they are doing their titles. And you don't have to look at the biggest channels, but look at channels that are, a nice step up from what it is that you're doing. Basically, smaller channels that are getting views. Look at them and see how exactly they are framing their content to make it more intriguing. Because right now, the way that you're currently doing it, like I walked across in a Brandon Bridge that was left behind, there's nothing interesting about that, right? This one's more interesting. Exploring an abandoned office building, what I found left behind. You wouldn't believe what I found left behind levels this one up a little bit, right? And then here, Indiana's Lost Bridge, built with no road on the other side. Again, there's no real, oomph attached to that one. So yeah, I would work on those types of things right now, because work on making everything more compelling, right? Not clickbaity, but more compelling to where people feel they want to, they like need to check it out, versus like, oh, I don't care if somebody walked across an abandoned bridge, right? Don't care. And then I would also analyze every bit of the beginning of this video and see what you were doing differently here than what you were doing in some of these, and see if, there's a format that you might be able to follow here. And then you want to track this against your retention, as long as these views came from recommendations. If they came from search, and you'll see this in your traffic sources, if they came from search, then you still want to do that. But if you're trying to go after recommendations, then it's not going to be as impactful there. But I would still do that. But if most of the views on this did come from recommendations, which they probably did, then in that case, I would really study the heck out of this video and how you started it, and try to replicate the like how you put the video together. Mm. Any additional thoughts there, D?
No, I'm on board with you.
Okay.
Creator Dad just left a super chat.
Thanks for super chat. Creator Dad says, I found that filming while driving is easier to do given my schedule, and I'm more authentic while driving. Yay or nay? So when it comes to
first of all, I need to say a disclaimer as your lawyer. It's not a good idea to drive and make YouTube videos. But you're a grown adult. I just needed to put that disclaimer out there. Go ahead and answer the question.
Yeah, so a couple things to think about. The very first is that you're practicing putting content out, which is good. However, when you are publishing your videos, you're going to quickly find out if people are responding to the format that you're doing. If they are, then in that case, you're on the right track and you can keep going. But if they're not, and you find that the car videos are just not cutting it, then in that case, you might have to make a change. So there's the publishing things that are the easiest for us. And then there's the publishing the things that we need to publish based on what might be effective for our audiences. So because of that, keep doing some car videos, see how they pan out. You might build an audience for that enjoys those. But I'm looking here right now, and it looks like both of these at this moment in time are not, neither of them are going that great yet. So right now, the thing that I would actually focus on is trying to, from a topic standpoint, trying to get all of that worked out, and also just more clear targeting. So here you have that you are a creator dad, and my mission is to teach other like-minded dads what I learn along the way. Okay. So here, if you're trying to teach other like-minded dads what you learned along the way, let me share the screen here real quick. Then in that case, the secret to my first video upload as a creator dad revealed, right? So you're trying to make this like super compelling, but if you're trying to reach dads, what was it again? Like-minded dads out there, what I learned along the way. Yeah, so one, I would add clarity to your value proposition. Okay, an average dad trying to grow on YouTube. Okay, so Yeah, in that case, yeah, I guess this kind of goes, but right here, the secret to my first upload is a creator dad revealed. So the very first thing that I just want to mention here is with content like this is all about you. Right now, I would focus on making your videos about the viewer, right? Like how to upload your first video. My process that will help you, overcome camera shyness so you can upload your first video, things like that. Because right now it's just my secret to my first upload is a creator dad revealed. You can see here that, people don't really care about that much. So, reframing all of this, even when you're coming up with the video ideas, reframing all of it to make it about something specific for the viewer, right? That's what you want to go after. The easiest way to master your mindset without stress. So this is another one, right? So, and this is something that people don't think about a lot until it's brought to your attention. And in this case, you said here that you're trying to reach dads that are trying to grow on YouTube. And here, nothing about this says anything about a dad or growing on YouTube, right? So you have love the process, the easy way to master your mindset without stress. This doesn't have anything to do with what it is that you say it is that you do on the YouTube channel. There's no clarity on who this is actually for. Like everything about this is completely open in terms of not really targeting anybody, with the content. So because of that, when you are publishing your videos, make sure that you just confirm, okay, if I'm trying to help dads that are trying to figure out YouTube, then how can I make at the topic level, how can I make this video something that a dad would be interested in? For example, how to publish on YouTube consistently when you have kids, right? Like that type of thing would be more impactful for the audience that you're trying to reach than the easy way to master your mindset without stress, right? In terms of the messaging that you're sharing there, in terms of who that video might be for. So I'd work on those types of things when it comes to your channel right now.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
And D co-signs it.
I co-sign that. I'm a bit confused by looking at that. As a creator, I could be totally wrong. But just my initial gut on that is I think that's a very narrow niche to go down. Like I'm targeting dads who want to get on YouTube, right? Like, can you really make that much content targeting dads? Targeting dads specifically.
Yeah, maybe you can. I don't know.
Right, maybe you can. Yeah. But like to me, that just seems very narrow in terms of longevity.
Yeah.
Right? Short term, yeah. Okay. Longevity, think 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5 years down the road, are you still going to be able to make content targeting dads?
Right.
Right. I don't know. I might approach something differently, like trying to teach dads how they can turn their hobbies into how they can make money off their hobbies or make extra money.
YouTube.
Yeah, via YouTube, right? Like how to take your hobbies and turn them into things they can make money with on YouTube. Yep. And like go over all the different ways that they can package things up and sell things, and just from a money-making approach. I don't know, I just feel like that might open you up in terms of opportunity.
Yeah, one thing that you might want to do is just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to spend the next few hours and just do this as a brain dump, right? Like it doesn't have to be a commitment to making the videos, but basically sitting down and saying, okay, over the next 2 hours, I'm just going to sit here and brain dump every idea that I possibly can about things that dads might struggle with on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm going to write down the problem that they might have that I might be able to help them solve. And then next to that, I'm going to write down just a super rough idea, because you don't want to spend tons of time on each one because you're just brainstorming it. But I'm going to write down a title for this. And again, it's rough, doesn't have to be perfect. It can be long if it needs to be, and then you can workshop it later. But I'm going to write down the problem that I'm going to be helping them with. And then in the second column, I'm going to be writing down how I would write a title that would make it specifically something that if a dad saw it on their homepage and they were interested in YouTube, they would know it was for them. And then I would do that and write down 50 to 100 ideas during that time. And if you can flesh that out, then you get to a point to where, you might be able to tweak each one or maybe double make some videos, things like that. But I would go through that process first, just qualifying the niche and making sure that you can train yourself on being able to package things up in a way that will be recognizable to the people that you are saying that you're trying to reach with your content.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd focus on that.
Yeah.
Really quick, Sick Shop. Thanks for the super chat, man. Says,
got it?
Yep, got it. Says, my views have taken a dive. Was thinking about doing shorts only or abandoning the niche. Not sure what to do. Suggestions. So when it comes to views taking a dive, I would definitely just, look to see, like, okay, am I still making content that is for, the right, people with this? So I'm just going to take a quick look here. What Amazon Rings of Power felt like it was for, Six Shop hub for sci-fi and fantasy fans. Okay, so I think you're still in alignment there. So I think you're okay there. So a couple of things. The very first is it could just be that you got to work on the content, right? Because I see here, like, if I hover over this most recent video, so I see it's you, in your car. Let me make sure this is off. Okay. So it's you in your car. As soon as you go into the video, you have this like weird filter on it. And here, I'll just pull it up on screen real quick. So as soon as I click into this video, you've got this like, this weird like what would you call this filter? Like a cartoon type of filter?
Yeah.
On it. And then you're switching through like all of these types of things.
Sketch. It's called Sketch.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then we're like, 20-ish seconds in, 18 seconds in, before you actually get to the real footage. And you're doing all of that in the most important part of the video.
Yeah.
So instead of doing this type of thing, I would take a step back. And instead of saying, like, should I abandon this niche, start looking at what you're doing, right? Because what you're talking about is popular, right? You're talking about sci-fi and fantasy, movies and shows. So that's popular. So in terms of the market for that, it's there.
Yeah.
So the next thing that you have to work on is, okay, I got to get my content to a point that it is competitive against the other people that are making similar content, trying to get the same people that I'm trying to reach, trying to get them to watch their videos instead of mine, right? Like you want to start like opening up other channels that make content like this and look, how are they presenting the content? Are they in a car or are they in a place where, where they're talking to the camera, differently? They might be in the car. I'm not sure, but basically putting it together in a way that gives you a better chance for this. Because right now, I don't think that the problem is that you need to abandon the niche. I think the thing that you got to do right now is spend time on the actual content itself and just ask yourself when you're making the videos, okay, so when I first start this cartoon filter that I'm putting on here, does this even matter, right? Like, why am I putting this cartoon filter on here? And then saying, okay, instead of putting this cartoon filter on here and spending the time in my edit and all that stuff, like doing that, how about I spend this first 30 seconds of this video, or the first, time that the first 30 seconds the viewer's going to experience on this video, how about instead I start thinking about if somebody's going to click on a video about what Tolkien's process of writing suggests about trauma and Lord of the Rings, if somebody clicked on that video, like what would they want to hear or see when that video first opens? Probably want to hear, something confirming that they clicked in the right place, maybe some type of build up into what it is that you're going to be sharing with them, maybe some type of conflicting idea to where they click on it. You tell them that, everything that they know about that person's writing process has been wrong, and you're going to tell them why, those types of things. But start really digging into those types of things instead of abandoning the niche. So when it comes to YouTube, it's important for all of us to always remember that it's a big competition. And when you are trying to compete, especially in the niche that you're in, when you're trying to compete with channels that are talking about that sort of thing, like you have to come to play. And sometimes that means that you have to go through a longer process when you're putting the videos together, because you have to be more intentional about everything that you're doing, because channels that you're competing with, that's what they're doing. Right. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you are, giving yourself a chance in that regard before you throw in the towel on the content. Now, with that said, if you're like, I just don't like making videos about this anymore, in that case, yeah, start a new channel, try something different. But if you are really into this type of content, you want to make this channel work, then you have to, go through that process of getting things, more competitive than what they are currently.
I watch a lot of content, and I am really drawn to people in their cars. I don't know why. I see it a lot on TikTok. People are just in their cars having a conversation.
I see it in TikTok, but I don't get into it on. I get into it on TikTok, but I don't get into it on YouTube.
Right,
long form.
Yeah,
it's like short form appropriate, but long form not as much.
Right. So I get into this on TikTok. So number one, I was going to say, if you're not putting this, I mean, you can use Opus Clips to do that. But if you're not putting this on other platforms, short form, even if it's YouTube Shorts, I would try. I would test. I would find the best parts of that, put it on TikTok, put it on Instagram, put it on YouTube Shorts if you're not doing so already. But one of the things that makes that sort of content really attractive to me, and I think it's the same for a lot of people, is it feels really authentic. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice by putting filters and sketches and black and white stuff when you're in the most authentic, relatable place imaginable, right? Somebody clicks in, you're in a car, boom, relatable, boom, you're talking, I'm listening. But as soon as you start putting those filters on top, it just starts breaking that vibe.
And it's a distraction.
It's a distraction, right?
Yeah, so instead of somebody being able to just sit there and enjoy the content, they are distracted by the filters that you're putting
right.
in your
And now
video.
I'm thinking about why
Like,
am I looking at this?
Why is this looking weird? Yeah.
Right. Why am I looking at this? Why
Right.
is this filter? Is he going to get to the thing? I would suggest this, and I didn't watch the video. I didn't listen to the video, so you might be doing this. I was just watching what he was sharing with no audio. It looked to me, the first thing I noticed, and it could have just been the little bits he was landing on. It looked like you were looking at yourself in the viewfinder. Perhaps you were recording on your phone, maybe. It looks like you were looking at the viewfinder instead of the lens. Look at the lens.
Yeah.
And it's okay to look away from time to time, right? Think of it like this. When you're sitting down to have a conversation with someone, you don't just sit down and lock your eyes and just assert your dominance for 8 minutes straight. I mean, maybe you do, but people think you're weird if you do.
Yeah.
Right? You just sit, you have a conversation, you look away, sometimes you look back, you know, whatever. But most of the time you try to hold some level of eye contact. So do that and make sure you're looking at if you're recording on the back, make sure you're looking at the lens. But by the looks of that, I get the feeling you were looking at yourself on the actual viewfinder and not the little lens on the phone. So that's something that's a habit you have to build up if you're recording on your phone. Number two, and again, I don't know how you came into the video, but in that sort of very relatable, authentic type of shot, come in. So somebody hits play, just come in talking right out of the gate. Think of it as like you just called your friend on FaceTime, they picked up and you just start talking. That sort of a vibe. That sort of thing does really well with short form content. So if you're going to use the same style for long form content, I would try that strategy. Just like somebody picked up the phone and you just start talking. Man, you wouldn't believe what Tolkien said, and I'm just going to disagree with or whatever. Just come in guns a-blazing, just like you're having a conversation.
Guns a-blazing.
Guns a-blazing.
Salon Guy, thanks for the super chat. Says, let that play here real quick. Okay, says, hey guys, Nick, I've been going back to pure educational old school content, and it seems my views and audience is coming back from the dead. Could I be onto something? Yeah, man. Like if you make a change and people start responding to it, then yeah, try to lean into it. If you're publishing and you notice, hey, when I do it this way, then I get that better response, then heck yeah, go for it in that case. And I'm glad that you're experimenting with stuff too. And you're like, hey, let me try doing, this. Yeah, I love that.
I love it.
Love it. So next up, we've got Beanie Draws in the house. Beanie Draws says he'll be rebooting his dinosaur art, focusing more on shorts and maybe ASMR-styled art videos. The goal of the channel is to teach others. And the question is, in Andrew Can's stream yesterday, Andrew Can's the man, by the way, in case you don't know who Andrew is, but he says he was talking about some transcripts and how they contribute towards a video's discoverability by their spoken content being searchable SEO. I know you can edit transcriptions to remove profanities that never existed, but can you go one step further? And if your video is purely visual with very little spoken words, modify the transcriptions to be written descriptions for what's happening visually on screen. So if I'm drawing a dinosaur head but not speaking, having the transcript say, I'm drawing a dinosaur head by doing blank as I draw. Would that be seen as a no-no in YouTube's eyes, or would that actually be a smart approach to help content be discovered more when spoken words aren't used as much? So when you publish that video, like YouTube is going to, have its ideas on, or their system is going to, be trying to put it in front of the right people anyway. And just like anything else, based on who responds to it and who doesn't, it's going to inform their system on, who to continue showing it to. In terms of adding the spoken words to transcripts just in general, I mean, it's kind of like a side effect that just happens, when it comes to just saying things in your videos, that those things get in there. But when it comes to adding the description of what's happening on screen, since they're able to see it on screen, I really don't know. Like, I don't think that YouTube would see that as that you were trying to game the system in any way, because you're basically just describing what happens on screen. And if you're not tag stuffing and stuff like that and trying to, you know, force a bunch of keywords in there and stuff like that, then I don't think there would be a problem. But I would definitely go to the Google Help pages and try to, you know, dig in there a little bit. Maybe even reach out to Team YouTube about that one, just so you can get a little bit more, you know, official clarity on that one, because it does feel like it might be in the gray area. Like, I don't think it would be a problem, but it does feel like, okay, if you're not saying anything in there, but then you're explaining what they can already see, then it seems like that would be okay. And I think the problem that I'm having with it is because I know your intention behind it, which is that I'm doing that so that I might be able to show up, you know, for, you know, keywords and stuff. In my opinion, I think that your video, like the way that you described what you'd be putting together there, I think that your videos would be just a better recommendation play anyway. And I actually wouldn't even worry about SEO too much when it comes to what it is that you're doing there. So I would actually be, you know, just trying to, you know, make the videos something that would be interesting from a recommendation standpoint, to where if it showed up on a homepage, it would be interesting to people into art, versus, you know, trying to, you know, do all these things in order to try to, you know, hopefully get some search views from it. Salon Guy says, people seem to want one thing from me, being an expert. I've been trying so hard to follow trends when people just want me and my expertise. Yeah, those types of things, you know, just because, you know, you've been doing what you do for, you know, a long time, and, you know, people find value in expertise. So, yeah, so, I mean, that's excellent. And I'm glad that, you know, with you teaching people, you know, like, I think that also opens you up for other opportunities too. You know, like if you're teaching people, you can put together different things, you know, for them, do like, you know, virtual, you know, training stuff, to where you do like live calls. If you have somebody to where you can, like bring them into your salon, and then, you know, you actually walk through it right there in person, things like that, but you do it to teach people. Yeah, like I think those types of things are additional opportunities that you might be able to charge for, because you have your free content that you put out on YouTube to show people what you can do. And then for the people that are trying to learn what you do, the people that are responding to the educational content, you can create additional offerings for them based on, you know, the level that they want to learn at. So yeah, I think that opens you up for more opportunities. But it's great to see that you know, views are starting to come back, right? That's always a good thing. So Found Far Away is the next channel here. They do, okay, so yeah, so he's already got his own hair product biz, virtual consultations. Okay, so yeah, that was more in alignment of what I was saying there on the consultations, but in some courses, so I'm doing that, bud. Fantastic. Excellent. Absolutely love it. So Found Far Away is the next channel here. They upload one time per week or more, been on YouTube for less than a year. They are a travel couple. Goal of the channel is to be a full-time creator. And the question is, would like to know if you notice any major issues with titles or thumbnails, or and if it's harmful to the channel to upload shorts and longs to the same channel. So the rule of thumb when it comes to uploading short form and long form to the same channel is, as long as the content is for the same audience, right, the same, you know, person that you're trying to reach, then in that case, it's fine to do both. So for example, you know, because you guys are doing the travel content, if you upload videos that are not related to any of that stuff, then, you know, it's outside of that. If you upload videos that are, you know, a little bit more casual, you know, that aren't in alignment with what you're offering in your main content, then, you know, that can also be a little bit, you know, off base. But as long as everything lines up for what you're offering from shorts and for the long form content, in terms of the same viewer, you can have different offerings, but it's all targeted towards the same type of person and the things that they care about. Then in that case, you know, it's perfectly fine to have everything on the same channel, including live streams as well. So Diane says, lurking and listening, still waking up. Nice. Appreciate you too, Salon Guy. Giglife says, oversaturated is a myth. Every creator can bring something different, 100%. Okay, so I'm looking at your channel right now, and you have Mountaintop Legend cooked for a Filipino birthday. So yeah, so in your case, you are definitely doing, you know, travel vlogs. But one thing that I would definitely, you know, consider when it comes to your content is, like, you're getting some views on some of these, right? Like 5,000 views, 7,000 views, 26,000 views, you know, Philippines and New Year's, amazing. 1.3, sleeping on the floor in the Philippines in the mountains. So these types of things are okay. In terms of like this one on sleeping on the floor in the Philippines, I love how you put the flags, you know, in you know, your different thumbnails and all that. I think those are cool. This is going to sound dumb, but one thing that I would do, and I know that you have the, you know, the octagon that you have here, but I would just do like a regular flag, right? Because you're going for clarity and easy to understand. And I would also make sure that it's always visible, because here you can see that it's covered up by the timestamp. So it'll be that way in some places. So if you are going to put that flag in there, I'd make sure that it's always over here so it doesn't get covered up by the timestamp, because, you know, that is a way that people will, you know, identify it. But a few things, let's see here. So one, sleeping on the floor in the Philippines, in the mountains, and you're pointing to this. I would definitely zoom in here a little bit, because you can't really see there, which, you know, might be okay. That might cause some people to click to figure out where it was, because they just want to see what's going on. But I would definitely try to make it a little bit more visible. Or if it's somewhere to where it's one of those places, you know, because we live in Southeast Asia too. So if it's one of those places to where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he slept there, then trying to just really emphasize that side of things would definitely be a way to do it, instead of it being something that you can't really make out here in the thumbnail. So even at a bigger size, let me kind of bring it down here. Yeah, it's really hard to even see kind of what's going on there. It looks like here, hold on, food. No, we moved to the Philippines. Almost met disaster. Her birthday in Manila destroyed our budget. Christmas Carnival, first time experience Christmas in Manila. Okay, so you see this one here with like your first time experiencing Christmas in Manila. So this is an outlier on the channel. It looks like you had a one that's kind of close here, but this one seems like an outlier in terms of your most recent videos. So one thing that you might want to pull from here is first time experiencing, fill in the blank, and then just from a template standpoint and being able to have a consistent series on the channel, one thing that I would try from an experiment standpoint that I can just kind of identify at a glance here from just pulling up your channel is first time experiencing, fill in the blank in, fill in area of Philippines, right? Or just say Philippines or in the Philippines. I would try to make a series out of that, of you guys just experiencing first time things. You don't have to publish every video like that, but basically just doing more of those and seeing like, hey, do people respond well to these first time experiences? Because the reason I'm saying that is because one, this is an outlier. Two, it's just interesting, right? Because, you know, you experiencing Christmas in Manila as just a normal expat is one thing, but you experiencing it for the first time suggests like, hey, you know, this, like we're getting like the first impressions of this person going through this. And because of that, since people did respond so well to this, I would look at how you formatted this in terms of, you know, what do we say when we first came into the video, all of that. And I would actually try to make this one a series just as an experiment at first to see how people respond to first times, right? In the first time experiences in the Philippines. Even here, right? Even read on this one. If this was your first new year in the Philippines, you know, it's amazing. 2026, our first, you know, our first time experiencing New Year's in the Philippines, 2026, something like that would be something I would mess with there too. We moved to Sojourner Philippines. So with videos like this, right? Because like some of your view counts, people are responding to what it is that you're doing, right? So you're definitely heading in the right path. You got almost 80,000 views on this one. You got 39,000 views here. You got 49,000 views here, 16,000. So people are responding to what it is that you're doing. So you guys are able to hold attention here. The next thing that I would start working on is the actual, you know, ideas of what it is that you're doing and how you're framing everything and how you're packaging it. So here you have, we moved to, you know, this area in the Philippines. Even in a case like this, instead of like we moved to, you know, this place in the Philippines, trying to think about, okay, is there anything that we could add to this when we're making the video or when we're packaging it up, or, you know, better of both, to where it would make this to where instead of it just being we moved in the Philippines, to where there's something else. Like, you know, we moved to this place in the Philippines and, you know, we found this, whatever, we moved to whatever Philippines, but we never expected this, right? So it just kind of opens it up more from a curiosity perspective, because now it's not just that you moved to this place in the Philippines, it's that something happened, or you experienced something, or your perspective of the move or whatever it is was something that, you know, that you didn't expect or whatever. And in order for people to get the answer to that, they have to click on this video to figure out, like, you know, what it was, you know, what your opinions are on that thing versus it just being a statement that you moved to this area in the Philippines, right? So I would work on those sorts of things. Same thing here. We tried Filipino food we'd never had. This is another one to where saying, like, okay, we tried food that we've never had. That's interesting. But if we wanted to level it up, you know, these were our favorites, right? And then by doing that, it's like, okay, so they had some food they never had. I wonder which ones they liked the best, right? And a lot of these things, you know, you might be able to repackage these depending on how you put the videos together. But these are the types of things that you also want to think about, you know, when it comes to like making the video, right? So, okay, hey, we're going to go eat. We're going to go try a bunch of food. How are we going to package this up? So we can do it to where we just tried a bunch of food in this area, or we can try it to where we tried this food and we're going to list out our favorites. So then we're going to package the video in that way. And then as we're going through the video, because it's a 30-minute video, we're going to, you know, start breaking down, hey, here's us trying the thing. And then, you know, we're going to start slowly listing out, okay, we had this one. On this one, we'd give this one a, you know, 10, or we'd give this one a 3, or whatever the thing is. And then you kind of move through the content that way. So I would start working on those types of things because you're already getting a response. Now you got to start, you know, working on like how to level up things, because I think that if you take the approach that I'm recommending to you right now, I think that you'll be able to raise the average view counts that you're getting, because you've already got the hard part out, which is, do people respond to you or not? You've already got that covered. So now it comes to, you know, leveling things up, making things more intriguing, making people feel like they want to, you know, check it out versus it being something that is just interesting, right? So I'd work on those things. Let's see here. And really quick, Amanda Loves Music says, there's a lot of negativity towards shorts creators and viewers on other channels. However, I've turned several one-off shorts into series, which I keep adding to and they keep growing. Yeah, so when it comes to shorts, I think that, you know, like YouTube is pushing shorts everywhere. And when people give shorts creators a hard time, I think it's really short-sighted. No pun intended. Yeah, but the reason I think that is because, you know, if YouTube is prioritizing shorts, then it would make sense that if you are wanting to leverage what YouTube is prioritizing, that you would have shorts as part of your strategy at least, right? And some people, you know, if they're not trying to, you know, monetize, you know, in the same way that maybe they monetize in long form content, then in that case, you know, some people are like, they love getting the creator experience out of making YouTube shorts, right? So, you know, because of that, I think that when people are, you know, dogging on YouTube Shorts creators, I don't think that it's, you know, appropriate, because one, you know, they might not even know what they're trying to do. But two, I think Shorts is also a great, and Dee and I have been saying this for a long time, Shorts is a great barrier to entry for, or a great starting point, I should say, for people that have never made content before. Yeah. Because when it comes to YouTube Shorts, you know, there's just not, I mean, you can put as much time into them, but for a lot of people, you know, it's a great way to learn how to make content without having to do all the other stuff, right? Because you don't have to make thumbnails. You don't have to, you know, spend a long time tweaking your titles, making sure all your, I mean, titles are still important, but you don't have to put as much into the content as you do with the long form. So I think it's just a great way to be like, okay, I'm going to start practicing making videos, and through this process, I'm going to learn how to get my mic better or my audio better. I'm going to learn how to capture people's attention when it first starts. And I'm going to use this as like a training ground to where in the future, if I want to make long form content, then I'm going to have all these skills built up from making the short form that I can then start transferring over into the long form. And then, since I already know how to make good videos for making shorts, when I transfer over to the long form, then I have a lot of that covered already. I'm going to have to tweak some things for long form, but then now I can just focus on packaging and coming up with, you know, ideas that are appropriate for long form and things like that. So I think shorts are a great place to, you know, to jump into as a content creator. Renee Ritchie in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Renee says tons of viewer demand for shorts. You know, what's interesting is I find myself like late at night. So basically our routine when we go to bed is we'll like watch Netflix for a little bit. And then after that, she'll usually fall asleep first. And once she falls asleep, I'll hop over to YouTube. Sometimes I'll watch some long form content. But then after that, I'll be like, okay, I'm starting to kind of fade here. I'm getting tired. So I'm just going to shorts and just watch some brainless stuff. And then I'll just watch.
Yeah, but tell the truth. Do you go to shorts or you go to TikTok?
No, I go to shorts on YouTube because it's attached to my Apple TV.
Oh, because you're
TikTok isn't.
Because you're broadcasting it.
Right. Right.
Okay,
Right. Yeah. So it's attached to my Apple TV. If it was my phone, I'd probably go to TikTok. But since it's on my TV, then I go into Shorts on the TV, and then I'm sitting there and I'll go through Shorts just because it's easier. You know, I don't have to pay as much of attention because I'm getting tired, things like that. So I'll sit there and just flip through short after short after short after short, and I'm watching tons of Shorts on TV. Which is like the most unexpected thing ever for me personally, right? Watching them on TV, and he says also that people today make short form the way that that we olds used to tweet. It's a video first generation. Yep.
Renee, first of all, hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah, man, hope you're doing awesome.
The YouTube Shorts algorithm. I know you guys are just bathing in money by pushing those so hard. But from a
bathing, it's
take
like all these hundreds.
It's like the snow angels.
Get a little 100 back here on the back of the neck.
The overhead drone shot of them just doing snow angels and money
and bunches of money
and just piles
like
of money.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah,
they're
totally.
like diving in.
Yeah. But YouTube Shorts for me is just, from a viewer's perspective, is incredibly disappointing. We were talking about this earlier. I mean.
He said that the demand is high.
Well, yeah. So, Well, I mean, you guys are sticking it in everybody's face. I mean, is the demand high, or are you forcing it on everybody?
Yeah. But I mean, people still have to go in there and then watch short after short after short.
But anyway, point being, I find myself repeatedly going to other platforms for short form content.
Yeah, he said send him your feedback.
Yeah.
Yep.
I repeatedly go to other platforms for short form content. YouTube rules supreme for long form content.
Yeah, hands down.
It's just that the algorithm really struggles to find things that I'm truly interested in. Like, I don't care.
My Shorts is Theo Von.
It's mindless
other
stuff.
comedy, but I mean that's kind of the thing, though.
Yeah.
Theo Von, other comedians, Peter Holmes, people like that, and Rick and Morty clips and Family Guy clips. That's my Shorts.
That's your Shorts.
That's what I go to before I fall asleep.
So
you're just super lighthearted stuff, nothing serious. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
what my Shorts look like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, people respond, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are doing incredibly well. I'm saying personally,
yeah.
I just find myself leaving YouTube more for Shorts. Always going back for long form videos.
You know what's jarring?
What's that?
Is like I'm sitting there, I'm like getting ready to fall asleep, and I'm flipping through Shorts, and then YouTube shows me like a clip from Nim and Extra from this live stream, and it's you.
And it's me.
And I'm like, what the? Oh,
Just
okay,
like,
okay. Yeah, because I'm watching
on
on my account, but it pulls it from Nim and Extra.
And it's on the TV.
Yeah, and it's up there, and I'm like, oh, it's D. Yeah.
So one of these
funny.
days,
I'll hack
into your TV. So and I'll just pretend that I'll come here. And you can't be able to get it off the screen.
Right.
I was like, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah. Quit trying to swipe away, dude.
Swipe away.
Yeah,
you can huff and puff and blow your house down if you want. I'm not going anywhere. Really quick, I want to say this. So Karen Cole, a UK lawyer, says Shorts take so much time. Karen, if you're talking about recording Shorts, if it's taking a lot of your time, rethink how you're making Shorts. You're a lawyer, right? You can grab your phone, turn it on, and just give a hot take. You don't have to make some fancy edited short. A lot of people do really well with just super authentic content. They just grab the phone, hit record. Here's my hot take on something.
Yep.
I'm walking from point A to point B, holding my phone, just talking about the thing.
Any popular cases that are going on in the world, stuff like that.
Celebrity
give your
case.
thoughts.
Just a hot take. It doesn't have to be, it could be 15 seconds long. It could be 30 seconds long. Just pick it up and hit it. Making shorts should not be incredibly time consuming.
Unless you're doing like high-end shorts.
Unless you're doing high-end shorts.
Yeah.
But for most people, you could probably use something like Opus Clips, or you can just simplify your process for actually making the short itself. It shouldn't take a long time unless you're making high-end shorts.
Okay, so next up on the list here, we got Integrated Travel Solutions. They upload one time per week or more, been on YouTube for a year or more. They do cruising content. The goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, we did a paid promotion over the summer. We didn't know better. What can we do to set us apart from other cruise channels? Offer things that other cruise channels do not. Be super heavy on personality. Get very clear on who it is that you are targeting with your cruise channel, because there's cruise channels, and then there's cruise channels that target a very specific type of person that's interested in cruises.
Yeah.
So those are ways that you can separate yourself from other content creators. So hold on. Perfect Sea Day on Quantum of the Seas. Ultimate Cruise Day. Luxury Relaxation. So, let's see here. Boarding Quantum of the Seas, Embark Day Surprise. Yeah, even playing around with like your title. So this one's about, boarding the Quantum of the Seas. So with that one, like this is what it feels like to board a Quantum of the Seas cruise or, something like that. Just even playing with, how you're, framing those types of things is something to consider. Before your cruise in San Pedro, Port of Los Angeles Walk, Green Onion Dinner. Yeah, another thing too is like right now you're stuffing a bunch of different things into your title. Pick something like super interesting about your video. Think about, okay, what is it that we've offered in this video? And it's even better if you can do this beforehand, to where you think about, okay, what would we show in the thumbnail if we're gonna be taking people through this thing today? What would we show in the thumbnail for this? What would we write, or how would we write the title for this? And then you make the video around that package that you're going to offer. But right now, because you're stuffing a bunch of things into your title, it's kind of all over the place. One thing that I would recommend that you do is start thinking of, okay, let's make one simple, easy to read sentence here for our title that is in some way compelling about something about these cruises that we're on. I would start with that from a title perspective. And then in terms of imagery, I would definitely make sure that you get more like cruise related stuff in here. Like you have some of the thumbnails are really messy. Like here, I'm just going to pull this up real quick. Like here you have like Roation, Sloth Sanctuary, Cruise Excursion. And you've got like all of these different, things like all over this. Instead of, doing all of that, think when you are making your thumbnails, like, okay, we need to have like one clear focus with this thumbnail, and that focus needs to be something that people that are interested in cruises, specifically the segment of cruise, enthusiasts or people that watch cruise content for entertainment or whatever it is that you're going for. What can we focus on that would matter to them and help them identify that this is about something that they might care about? I would focus on that instead of just putting a bunch of stuff in the thumbnail for the sake of having a bunch of stuff in the thumbnail. Let's see if they've had anything. Okay, 5 months ago. Okay, Real Man Culture.
Greeting, Conrad.
Shaman Ritual.
We speak English here.
Okay, so this is interesting. So this is a video that it looks like doesn't, from the outside, it looks like it doesn't have anything to do with a cruise. I guess maybe the Cozumel maybe is the cruise ship. I don't know, but this is one of the excursions that you might take off of that. But you got 122,000 views on this one from 5 months ago. So this is, fairly recent. Here, 16,000 views 4 months ago. Sail Away on the Disney Wish. So one thing I just want to show you here is if you look at the title here, kind of what I'm saying is you see how this one's just simple and easy to understand. This one here, not as simple and easy to understand, but it's still, not completely crammed with stuff, at least, here at this first glance. Harmony of the Sea Cruise highlights, must-see spots and entertainment, just easy to understand. Disney Wish Sail Away Party, Balcony Cabin Tour. There's a lot with this one, so that one kind of goes outside of that. But on these top videos, though, they're mostly, pretty easy to understand. So I would definitely start working on those things. But I think that one of the things that you guys are going to be dealing with, though, is, like the places that you go, are they going to be popular, not popular, like that kind of stuff. I think that's definitely going to matter. And then you also have things, and this is where nuance matters because you're talking about standing out from other content creators. So like luxury Cozumel day pass, right? So this is where getting into the nuts and bolts of who it is that you're making content for, that's where this starts to take place. So here, this luxury version, this may or may not apply to the people that you're actually trying to reach with your content, right? Are you trying to go for general cruise goers or luxury travelers, right? That's where understanding who it is that you're trying to reach and what they want from you, can really come into play when it comes to making content like this. It's interesting, though, which is good. But in terms of separating you from others, when it comes up here, integrated travel solutions, joining us as we do ships, tours, and whatever, excursions, cruise dining with helpful tips from Real Sailings. Yeah, so like in this one, love cruising, join us as we, ship tour, blah, blah, blah. So a different way that you could do this and this is just one example. I'm not saying to do this specifically. I'm just using this as an example. But here, love cruising, we we share, and again, I'm not saying that you do budget travel, but I'm just giving you this as an example. But, Love Cruising, we share our experiences, helping, people know the best cruises to make on a budget, something like that. Or we give people real insights into, cruising on a budget, cruising around the world on a budget or whatever the thing is. Just that, doing this on a budget type of thing, helps separate you from just general cruise people. And then when it comes to the content, you can focus on those things. If it's luxury, we, help, we show luxury cruise enthusiast, however you want to frame that, our experiences through luxury cruise travel. Then in that case, every video that you publish on the channel is targeting that luxury cruise crowd, right? And then you're showing them unique insights that maybe the budget travelers might watch for the sake of just seeing what would be available, but the luxury travelers are watching it for the sake of, seeing all the cool stuff that they can do that the budget travelers might not be able to do, right? So it's those types of things that create those separations on your channel from other content creators and help you stand out. Let's see here. Next up on our listy. Next on our list, we got Brain Fire by Mac Movement. They upload one time per week or more, but on YouTube for less than a year. Type of channel is fiction, lo-fi, sticker movies, and audiobooks. Goal of the channel is to make money. And they say, I use AI, but it's still 90% me. Question is, what flips someone to a regular viewer? I just hit 6 months and went from 3 to 6. Do they need to finish an episode and watch more, or can it just be shorts? So when it comes to people becoming regular viewers, they need to see your content as a resource of some kind for them, be it entertainment, education, motivation, whatever the thing is, unique insights, whatever. They need to see your content as, valuable to them and want to keep coming back for that. And then they keep coming back for that. One of the aspects of that is by making, what it is that you're doing recognizable to people. So, for example, I see you're doing a lot of AI content, but there are things that you're doing also that are outside of that. So let me show you what I mean here real quick.
Pulling them up.
Yep. So if we look at this one, right, we have the replacements, training files, Neon Fang Gang or Fang Gang. And this one looks like it's some type of anime related thing. And then 3 weeks ago, you published this video about a nature vault, small moments you usually miss, ants at a spill extended. Not sure what that is. Another one, nature vault. And then here we get back to a galactic tournament, right? So basically you're doing these types of things. And then you throw this type of thing right in the middle of those, right? So there's other aspects of this. So here you have Slip, Hulk Robinson, Welcome to the Elseway, The Rules of the Elseway. Not sure what any of that is. Trace Sense 3D, Sci-Fi Crime. Okay, so here you are being clear that it's sci-fi crime, lo-fi, cyber neo, or clearance dive. First, I would make regular titles instead of just trying to stuff a bunch of stuff into these. But you have very clear here what it is that you're actually offering compared to this, where there's no real clarity on what it is that you're offering. Same with this one, Trace Sense 3D 3.5D, sci-fi crime, lo-fi, cyber neo, or clearance Delta 7. So you're at least being clear that this has something to do with like a sci-fi crime, in some way. So by doing this type of thing, you're able to speak to a certain group of people that are interested in sci-fi related things, or specifically sci-fi crime. And then here you have like an urban fantasy thing. So one thing just to consider, and I'm not saying that somebody that watches this can't watch this, but what I'm saying is if you dial things in to where everything it is that you're doing is for a particular type of enthusiast, it can help increase people that are wanting to become regular viewers of your content. So here you have this where it's just like urban, fantasy stuff and mystic urban fantasy stuff in here also. So you have something here that is tapping into one type of viewer, and this stuff over here that's tapping into a different type of viewer. So one thing that I would just consider when it comes to your YouTube channel is if you are trying to get more returning viewers and, increase people clicking on video after video, going and binge watching your channel, stuff like that, is I would start thinking, okay, what type of stories am I going to be telling here, and who might be interested in those stories, and how can I make the videos on the channel about things that a particular type of person would like to watch over and over and over again, to where they would come and they are likely to binge watch my channel. And just as an example, if everything about your content was sci-fi crime, stories, then in that case, it's all, you know, explained here that it's sci-fi crime. Here it's explained that it's sci-fi crime. And then for the people that enjoy these videos, and again, I'm just using these as an example, if they click into one of these and they watch it and they're like, wow, this is great. And then they click on your channel because they want more. And then they come here and they're like, wow, they've got a whole channel, these amazing sci-fi crime videos. Then that gives you the opportunity to really tap into a very specific type of viewer with this, and then they can come and they can just binge watch everything it is that you have. So I would consider I would consider that when it comes to your channel, because right now you're putting out a bunch of like different types of content, which is kind of scattering things out a little bit. I mean, you've gained 1.5 thousand subscribers, so you know people are, you know, responding somewhat to what it is that you're doing. But if your question was about returning viewers, so because of that, if you're wanting more of them, then I would, you know, try to dial that sort of thing in and really think about who it is that you're trying to reach with your content and what it is that you are, what it is that you're going to offer those people. Dia, will you cover this for 1 second?
Yeah, I sure will. Tangoing in the Kitchen. It's our birthday weekend.
Hey, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to you. I'm heading into the chat here, see if there's any questions in the chat. I do not have access to the channels over here, so you have to wait for Nick to get back to pull those up here. I'm going backwards. Clear over clever home rapid repair says, yes, YouTube is not a place to be clever. You have to think about who, you know, you're going to appeal to a more broad audience if you are just clear. If you are clear and you're speaking directly to the right people, because if you're nobody has time to try to figure out what you're doing, right? People are scrolling. They're not they're open stuff up and they're not putting a lot of time into something. They don't want to have to pause and figure out what does this mean? Is this the right video for me? We are impulse clicking on things. We're searching for something. Okay, that looks good. And we click on it, right? Or we just open up YouTube and we start clicking on stuff. It's impulse. Nobody has time to figure out what you're doing by being clever. Yeah, being clever can definitely hurt you. Yeah, everybody say happy birthday to Tangoing in the Kitchen. Everybody say happy birthday to Tango in the Kitchen. It's the birthday weekend. And you know they party hard because they're not like, oh, Sunday is my birthday. No, it's a birthday weekend. She has a birthday weekend. Most of us have a birthday. She has a birthday weekend. She knows how to party. That's what she's trying to say. That's right. Happy birthday. Let them roll. There you go. That's great. Chana says, I'm just testing if you understand Russian greetings from Germany. I knew it was Russian language, but I didn't know what it was saying. I just know that I can tell the characters are Russian. No idea what you said, though. I hope it wasn't, I hope it was something good and positive. Monday is a holiday here, so I have one more day. So she's going hard. She's doing like a 4-day, birthday weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a good weekend. That's a good birthday celebration.
That's a good birthday celebration. Yeah, even when I turned 50, I was like, okay, I'm 50. I spent like, had like a little birthday cake. That was the thing, and it was over. She's like, just probably
like raging all weekend.
Yeah. I don't even know how old you are, but it's probably not even like a milestone. It's probably like, 33 or something like that. 33, partying for 4 days.
But a reason to go for it.
4 days straight. Send the kids to the grandmothers. Just 4-day bender.
Going hard this weekend.
Yeah. 4-day bender.
So next up, we have Baseball Legends Chronicles. They upload 1 time per week or more. Been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They do Baseball Legends documentary content. The goal of the channel is connect with others who like what they like. And the question is, started the channel in October 2025. Looking forward to advice to grow more views and ways to improve my channel. Please look at titles and thumbnails. Let's see what you got going on. Baseball Legends and Chronicles.
Take a pick.
Let's see what we got going on here.
Are you pulling them up?
All right, Baseball Legends and Chronicles. Let's see what you got going on here. Let me take a sip of water here real quick.
A little hydration before you get going. Wet the old tongue.
All right. So, hold on. Okay, I need to switch between story to stay interested. Okay, so I respect this. Hold on really quick. So I respect this idea. So Mac Movement, the channel that we just looked at, the AI channel, says I need to switch between stories to stay interested. 100 episode goal. Now I got to retitle everything. Okay, so if you're uploading the videos to the channel because you just want to go back and watch them, yourself, and you're not, like you don't care about, the channel, like picking up momentum and all that stuff. Like it might still, end up okay. But if you are actively trying to grow the channel in every way, it's important to remember that when we publish videos to YouTube, it's about the viewers, not necessarily us. I mean, it's about us too and our interests and things like that. But when it comes to making the decision about what you're going to publish on a YouTube channel, it's important to make sure that you're thinking about the viewer first in that case, right? So you make the stuff that you want to make, but the stuff that gets put on the YouTube channel, you got to make sure that that is for a particular type of viewer that's interested in very specific things. And the reason for that is because the more bingeable you make your channel, especially if you're telling good stories and people are enjoying the content, the more bingeable you make your channel, the easier it is for people to go and watch videos back to back. The easier it is for YouTube's system to be like, hey, every person that we put this in front of that goes here and watches this, this channel, not every person, but a nice percentage of them, they continue on to keep watching video after video on this YouTube channel. When those types of things happen, like that's what causes channels to start taking off, because then their system detects, okay, when we show a video to somebody on, let's say, the homepage or suggested videos, and they click on it, there's a certain percentage of viewers that just end up watching, 2 videos instead of just 1. So because of that, because this one video is responsible for so much watch time because it's causing these binge sessions, somebody's watching 2-3 videos on this channel, then in that case, let's show this video to more people like these people that are having that pattern. And by doing that, as long as they keep responding that way, then it can cause, those videos to do really, really well. But when you start breaking things up to where it becomes difficult for people to find additional content on the channel without looking around for it, then in that case, it starts working against you because there's so much content on YouTube that it makes it, like it's just easier to go and like, oh, hey, let me just go search for something else instead, or to just go click on something over in the sidebar instead of going and looking for more of that and digging around trying to find it. So again, you can absolutely grow the channel by segmenting things like, like you're currently doing. But if you are interested in dialing things in to, give the channel more momentum, just remember that when it comes to YouTube, if we're wanting other people to enjoy what it is that we do, just making sure that, what you're publishing is, almost all the videos or all the videos are just a perfect fit for a person that's interested in very specific things. If you do that, then you're increasing the likelihood that you're going to do well on YouTube. And again, you can have, 2 or 3 breakout videos that drive the whole channel. Without question, that can happen. But if you're like really wanting to knock it out of the park, I would just, think about it and say, okay, I'm trying to, reach a type of viewer that's interested in these types of stories. So therefore, let me make sure that everything on the channel is something that they have a high likelihood that they will enjoy if they run across it. Then by doing that, you're making it to where if YouTube recommends additional content to them, they're likely to click on it and so on. And it benefits you in every possible way, except for your own interest in terms of, having to do it because you don't get bored. Right. So just think about that when it comes to that. But again, if you're just doing it for fun, no big deal. And it is possible to grow the channel in the other way, the way that you're currently doing it. But the way that I'm, trying to explain it is if you, want all that stuff to happen faster, then the typical path for that is dialing everything in for a particular type of viewer. All right. So back on Baseball Legends Chronicles. So let's see what you got going on here. Actually, let me pull this down real quick so I can check the question again really quick. Yeah, they just want feedback on titles and thumbnails, I believe. Yep. Okay, so thumbnails and titles. So the kid, Ken Griffey Jr., the kid who revolutionized baseball, MLB series. Yeah, instead of putting the kid on here, I know you have, him on here, but instead of putting the kid on here, I would just do Ken Griffey Jr. right across the top. Boom. And then also I would just focus on one image right? Just one strong image of him, just like a good image, and then, put his name up here. So then anybody interested in him, it'll be clear, that it's baseball, clear that it's him. And then you've also got his name on there. So anybody interested in him, they can recognize that and click on it. Story worth saving. So you have baseball imagery, which is great. In terms of the, plaque that you have here, I'm not sure. I know at a small size, suggested videos, this little plaque here that you're probably not going to be able to see that, but on, mobile feeds, home pages, you probably will. So I think it's fine, but it might clutter things a little bit. But here, very clear baseball imagery with what it is that you're doing there with your thumbnail and title. And this is another one. Instead of a story worth saving, I just put the person's name up there, right? Or if they do have the special award, so, if it's like a, even putting like the, MLB legends or MLB legend, Dennis Eckersley, right? Putting that up here so that it just kind of suggests that, he's a historical player or something like that would be something that I would do. How you have David Ortiz here, like you're doing that here, right? You're like, hey, here's David Ortiz. Or Ortiz, I'm not sure how you say that. But here you're doing that thing, and this video has, a little bit more views on it. Same here with Barry Bonds, same thing. It has a little bit more views on it. Juan Soto, a little bit more views on it than these other ones. Granted, it's been on here for 2 weeks, but yeah, here with their name on it, Derek Jeter, the name on it.
You shot Jeter.
He shot him. Yeah, right. Yeah, the other guys, if you've seen that, yeah. But yeah, man, I would just make this easy on yourself. So one thing that I would do is I would pick a style that you're going to go with, and I would do like, player, who they are, and then like that's it. And I would just focus on that, and then that's going to grab the attention of the people that are interested in that player or baseball, and then they can go down to the title from there. Also, you have here David Ortiz, the legacy of Big Papi, MLB Legend Series. So this is interesting, right, in terms of the title, but if you wanted to level this up a little bit, and of course this starts, right, you have to make these types of calls before you make the video so you can make sure everything is appropriate that you do in the video for, this reframing. But instead of it just being David Ortiz, the legacy of Big Papi MLB Legend Series, having it, David Ortiz, this is why he's a legacy, or this is why he's a legend, or, something along those lines. Because then what you do there is, instead of it just being a statement of, hey, this is him and this is who he is, it suggests that you are explaining what made him who he is, which is a different type of perceived value from the outside when it comes to the packaging. So I would consider that type of, kind of reframing when it comes to some of these titles. Next up, we've got Giglife with Starrdashians. Starrdashians. Yep, they do daily content. They do gig work comedy as the type of channel. The goal of the channel is to have fun. And the question is, how can I grow my subscribers and viewership on my lives? I've tried almost everything. And it's a ride along with gig working and working hard while having fun doing it. So let's see what you're doing here.
Oh, so they're like door dashing and stuff like that. Interesting. Pulling them up.
Okay, so right out of the gate, you are doing, like, what you're doing is not clear in any way, shape, or form. So I guess star dashing is maybe DoorDash. If you're DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, or Ship Driver. Okay. So a couple things. One, unless you are a cartoon, because you said it's a ride along. Yeah, okay, you're not a cartoon. So I wouldn't use cartoons here to represent you guys. Put real people here. Because this suggests that something different is behind this video, right? All of these. Right, when you use the cartoons like this, it suggests something different is back here, which is going to cause people that are interested in that to click on it, and then they'll quickly abandon the video because that's not what they're getting. So I would get real people in the thumbnails. Number 2, celebrating 2 years of bloopers and funny moments. Feel free to skip around. So here you have 2 years and funny moments, celebrating 2 years. There's no clarity at all here about this having anything to do with any type of, delivery service, any type of, DoorDash, any type of thing related to that. There's nothing here that suggests that your content has anything to do with that. So if you're trying to collect viewers that are, or get yourself in front of viewers and get them responding to your content that are into that, which it looks like here, if you're a DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, or Shipt driver, if you're trying to reach those people, make it obvious that that's what your content's about from the outside.
So
I would start there.
I'm a little confused. What do they expand that? Expand up at the top there, the more about what their channel's about.
Yeah, it says if you're a DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, or Shipt driver thinking about becoming one, you're in the right place. We're everyday North Carolina gig workers turning our delivery grind into unfiltered entertainment and real talk about the apps. On this channel, you'll see wrong house drop-offs, crazy drive-through moments, and wild customer requests. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart runs across North Carolina, and relatable gig worker wins, fails, and you won't believe this order stories. Tips, mistakes to avoid, and honest experiences from the delivery streets. Okay, so there's also...
They're documenting what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up at all with the packaging and the ideas.
Yep. So, yeah, a couple things, too. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is here... you have entertainment content that you're putting out that would apply to anybody interested in just being entertained. And then here you're doing tips, mistakes to avoid, and honest experiences from the delivery streets. So here you're trying to add value to delivery drivers. So with these, you are reaching anybody that's interested in just kind of seeing the behind the scenes of what's going on in the delivery world. And then down here, you're talking specifically to delivery drivers. So step one, I would get clear on who it is that you're actually targeting with this. Step two, I would go in and I would put real people in your thumbnails, and I would repackage everything so that it's clear that it has something to do with delivery driving. And when it comes to your titles, even here, you have Throwback Christmas of the Past Funniest Moments re-release. So even here, none of this is clear that it has anything to do with anything related to delivery in any way, shape, or form. Same with this one. Same with this one.
A YouTube thumbnail design? That's out of...
Yep. Instacart loading tips nobody talks about. Okay, that one at least lets you know that it has to do with Instacart. Mm-hmm. Here, how to make the perfect thumbnail. This is a completely different audience 8 months ago. So yeah. So since you're back on the horse now, because you took a huge break, start publishing content again. And then... repackage everything so that it's clear that you are delivery driver, and also make sure that you are clearly targeting one side or the other of the content.
Some thinking needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out which direction you want to go in.
Yep. Next up, we've got Alicia's World of Pets. Alicia's World of Pets uploads one time per week or more. The goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, how can I make my channel more personal and reflect my story instead of solely focusing on my 6 pets? Let's see what it is that you're going here.
6 pets.
Yeah, they're rescue pets. That's pretty cool. Love that you're doing that, by the way.
6.
Okay, so really quick here. So the question is, how can I make my channel more personal and reflect my story instead of solely focusing on my cats? So when you're making the videos themselves, make them about your story. So here you have the most adorable kitten reactions. So this is all about your cat. Here, purring orange cats are the best for Sunday relaxation, right? Everything that you're doing right now is about the cats. So because of that, that's the audience that you're building, people that are into the cats. If you want to make this about you and your story, then making videos about, this is why I, rescued, this cat from the shelter. And then you got at least 6 of those. In addition to that, if you're rescuing a cat from shelters, these are things to look out for. These are problems that I've ran into from rescuing cats. Making videos about those types of things shares more about your story, instead of making videos that are, just cute things that the cats are doing. So if you want to make this about your story instead of the cats, then in that case, you have to make the content that's about your story instead of content that's about the cats. Creator Ambition, thanks for the super chat, says, are VidIQ and TubeBuddy still useful for creators, or do free and lower tier plans give misleading title and thumbnail advice? So if you're stuck between the two, I would use VidIQ. I'm not going to go into a whole rant about TubeBuddy, but I would use VidIQ if you have the choice between the two. And just really quick, if you just go to Google Chrome Store and you look at the reviews between the two, and then you go to their YouTube channels and you look to see how, and their Twitter accounts and any place else, and you look to see how VidIQ supports their community and their users compared to the other one, then you'll quickly see what the right choice is. And in addition to that, VidIQ has every feature that TubeBuddy has that matters. The only one that TubeBuddy or that VidIQ doesn't have is the A/B testing tool for thumbnails, but YouTube has that, so you don't need it. So that should answer that question. But in terms of, can you use the free plans? You can, absolutely. So when it comes to the free plans, they give you enough information, but one thing to just be mindful of is when it comes to, and I make tools too. So I also have a tool that analyzes thumbnails, helps you, with titles and all that stuff. And when it comes to all of these tools, including mine, it's important to not fully depend on them. It's important to make sure that when you're using any of these tools that you're thinking through the viewer that you're trying to reach and how that title and thumbnail is going to be impactful to those viewers that you're trying to reach. All of these tools are absolutely fantastic for brainstorming, right? And sometimes they'll give you a title where you're like, oh yeah, this is great, I'm just gonna use this. And if you think it through and it matches, then that's perfectly fine. But one thing that I would not do is I would not offload your understanding of your viewer and what it is that they care about. I would not offload that to a tool. Instead, use all these different tools for brainstorming. You can use AI, for brainstorming, all that stuff. But when it comes to, saying like, okay, this is the title I'm going to use, don't look at the scores they give you. Don't look at any of that. Instead, think it through and say, okay, if I'm trying to reach people that are interested in X and I make a video about this and I package it using this thumbnail that it says is a 10 out of 10, is it really a 10 out of 10? What about this is going to help them identify that this has something to do with with something that they might care about, right? When it comes to this title, is this title something that's actually compelling for the people that I'm trying to connect with, right? So all the tools are great. But when it comes to, offloading the decision making, don't do that. Instead, use them for brainstorming and be like, hey, this word here is super impactful, but it might be better if I add it to this title over here that I was working on, right? So mix matching things and stuff like that is the best approach there. Roto Blake says that the best tool on modern YouTube is 1 out of 10 currently. VidIQ is a close second. Depends on which things that you're using them for. And then he says third best tool is YouTube Ask Studio. Yep, and the inspiration tab there. And fourth best is Google Gemini. Yep, and also just good old fashioned autocomplete is a gold mine. Gold mine also. Like when it comes to autocomplete, one of the cool things about that is that it helps you be able to know how people are looking for things, right? Yeah. So that's great because it helps you understand, like, okay, if people are looking for it this way, then there's a really good chance that they're thinking about it in this way. So if they're thinking about it in it this way, then how can I use that to present my content to them in the way that they might be thinking about it, right? So so all kinds of helpful ways to to do that.
Yeah, 1 out of 10 is really good. I've just recently started. I've been using their browser extension. I'm not paying for it. I'm just using the browser extension just to find outliers and just to identify things. Yeah, I find it really helpful.
Yeah, I think with all the tools, like everything has its pluses and minuses.
They all have their 100%.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to anything, like you really have to make sure. Like I can't undervalue the power of intention when it comes on YouTube, and I don't mean like mystical intention. I mean like I don't mean intention like like you're trying to align with the stars. I mean intention like you are thinking about you know, like, okay, this is my viewer. This is the video that I you know, want to make for them. Is this appropriate for them? Is this something that they would just absolutely, you know, love or would get value from or whatever the thing is? And then if so, then, you know, how am I going to package this up? Why am I going to package it up that way? What am I going to use in my thumbnail? Why am I going to use it in my thumbnail? This text I'm putting in my thumbnail, do I even need it? Why do I need it if I think that I do? When it comes to the title, you know, why am I writing my title in this way? Is there a better way to, you know, write this title that might be more impactful for the people I'm trying to reach? When they first click on my video and the first things that I say, why will these things matter to, you know, the person that I think is going to be a great fit for this video? And then after, you know, we get them through that part, then this next thing, like, why am I doing this and showing this or sharing this or whatever the thing is in the video? Why will this matter to, you know, the person? Do I need this? Can I cut it out? Or is this something that I need for the video? And just going through that process, you know, with intention, can make a huge difference on your on what it is that you're doing.
Next.
So next up, we got Indie Voice. They do daily content, been on YouTube for a year or more. They do video games and reviews. The goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, should I stick to long form content or keep doing short, since I've been seeing my views for long form have been small? Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about here. So first off, it's important to make sure that when it comes to shorts and long form content on YouTube, that you don't look at them the same. And the reason for that is because they're two completely different things. So yes, both are video content. Yes, they get in front of the people that you're trying to reach, but the experience for the viewer is completely different. The times that people might watch them are different, and the things that viewers expect can also be different. So when it comes to short form content, you still, you know, need skills in order to have that content do well, but you need less skills in terms of, okay, I got to be able to grab people's attention. I got to be able to, you know, come up with things that, you know, people will care about. And I also need to be thinking that this is going to pop up in somebody's feed. And because of that, I need to handle this, you know, short appropriately and when I'm putting it all together. When it comes to long form content, it's harder to get views when it comes to long form content because YouTube isn't just showing it to somebody. It doesn't just pop up, right? Instead, they'll put it on somebody's homepage, and somebody has to make the conscious decision to click on it because you've captured their attention. They've been compelled by your package to be interested, to say, hey, let me see what's behind this. And then they click on it, and then they come in and watch your video, and then you still have to go through the process of, you know, putting the video together in a way, usually for longer periods of time. So when it comes to short form and long form, dismissing long form because you're getting more views on shorts isn't always the best call, because if you're getting views on shorts, one, make sure that you're engaged views, because YouTube counts an impression as a view on YouTube Shorts. So if it just shows up in somebody's feed, then in that case, you know, YouTube is going to count that as a view compared to people that actually engage with it, which counts as a real view, which is what YouTube calls an engaged view. And you can see that inside of your stats. But then when it comes to the long form content, because it doesn't just show up in a feed, there's just a bunch more, there's a lot more skill involved when it comes to the long form content, because in addition to learning how to make the videos and hold attention for longer periods of time, you got to nail the topics and make them compelling. So when YouTube recommends them to people or people search for it, that you know, it's something that people want to click on. And then two, you got to learn how to make, you know, good thumbnails. You got to learn how to, you know, package them, you know, from the title perspective. And then you still got to learn how to have, you know, make the video good. So there's just a lot more involved when it comes to long form. So because you're getting more views on shorts isn't a reason to dismiss long form if you're interested in doing long form. If you're not interested in long form, you're like, I don't care, I just want to go wherever the views are easiest. In that case, shorts is probably going to be the thing. But if you are, you know, if you are only making that decision because your long form's underperforming compared to shorts, then in that case, that just means that you have more to learn when it comes to the long form content. And what I mean by that is just, you know, learning how to come up with good topics that are appropriate when they show up on a homepage, that there's going to be enough people that are interested in it, that helping them identify it, you know, through the thumbnail, and then, you know, making the title compelling, and then, you know, making a good video. Next up. Next, we've got Saul Sue Girly Bags. So Girly Bags. Been on YouTube for a year or more. They do sewing tutorials. The goal of the channel is to connect with others who like what they like. The question is, how can my tutorial-based niche channel break out of a small loyal audience and start getting recommended to new viewers? I've been testing new topics in most of my recent videos that I feel have been appealing to a broader audience. And I think it's helping get new viewers to my channel. Okay, so let's see what you're doing. If you are showing people how to make bags, this is going to be really easy. Well, let's see what's going on here. This channel is for women. Let's pop this open here. Learn to sew, build your brand, sell with confidence. Okay, you are teaching people how to make bags. Okay, this is for women who want to learn how to design and make feminine, high-quality products that turn skill into extra income. If you enjoy sewing but feel unsure about what to make or whether your products would actually sell, you're in the right place. Super cool. Teach women step-by-step how to sew feminine quality products that actually sell. You'll learn how to create timeless, useful pieces with polished finishes and understand what makes handmade products marketable and profitable. This is great.
That's very specific.
Yep, love it. So a couple things to think about is here you have, sew with me, sew beautiful bags with me, beginner-friendly projects you love. Okay, one thing I want you to think about, and you make bags. When it comes to a thumbnail like this, do you think if this showed up on your homepage that it would instantly be recognizable compared to something like this, right? So one thing that I would recommend is if you are teaching people how to make these bags is I would definitely showcase the bags. It's okay to put yourself in there too, but I would have the bags as the star of this show, so to speak, when it comes to your thumbnail. And the reason for that is because for the people that you're trying to reach, you want, because you're doing this for women, so you want women when they see that bag in the thumbnail to go, oh, that's cute. What is this? Right? And then, oh, I can make this? Oh, this is great. Right? So, so I would definitely put a really strong emphasis on the bags themselves. As hero content, meaning content that has the potential to, get lots of views on it just based on the interest. And I know this might be outside of what it is that you're normally doing, but if you have the ability to show people how to like duplicate bags, then you can do that sort of thing as well. To like, hey, make your own, I don't know, bag name. Do you know any bag names?
Chanel.
Okay. Make your own Chanel bag at home, right? Something like that. So that, people that are interested in that, you're basically leaning on something that's popular already to bring attention to yourself. And then by doing that, again, you wouldn't do this with every video unless you wanted to. But basically the idea is that you are leaning into something that's popular already, showing people how to make that as a means to bring attention to yourself and your skill set and, position yourself as that person that knows how to do things at such a level that you can even, duplicate those types of things. So, yeah, that would definitely be something that I would try. So step number one, focus on the bags themselves because that's the thing that you want to grab their attention. Sew with me is perfectly fine having that in there, but bag as like the primary focus with like a make this with an arrow pointing to it, in my opinion would be more impactful than you as the focus with a sew with me as the text. Same here, the setup you need. My cutest sewing room upgrade yet. So here you have, if you're doing the sewing room, then you might want to focus on the sewing, room. But when it comes to the thumbnail, if you're really wanting to do a slam dunk for the women, you're teaching how to make these bags and the whole thing is about making bags, have my my cutest sewing room upgrade yet, having the thumbnail, where I make these bags, and then again having an emphasis on the bag itself. And then the thumbnail text would say something like, my setup for making these bags or something like that. Try to make it just super concise. But the idea is, again, focusing on the bags or the studio itself, right? One of the two. But I think this one where you're focusing on the bag is good, and the DIY, but I wouldn't worry about putting time limits and stuff like that on there. I would do that in the titles themselves. I'm curious here. Okay, looking for anything recent. Okay, so we got 11 months ago. So it's interesting that all of your videos, all of your top videos, all the way down to this one here from 3 months ago, with the exception here. This is where the exceptions start, but it happens twice. So all of your top videos seem to have a focus on the bags themselves, right? It's like bag and then make your own, make your own, make your own. That seems to be, I mean, granted, some of these are older. 10,000 views, cutest Bible cover you'll ever make. Okay, so one thing I want to bring to your attention here also is you're promising and I know this is like nuanced stuff, but I just want to bring it to your attention. So you can do stuff like this sometimes if you're like, hey, like, what else can I make for people, and you know, all that stuff. But when it comes to just home run nailing the people that are interested in making the bags, here you're doing bags, but then down here you're doing Bible covers and a phone wallet. So I guess the phone wallet would still fall into that, but the Bible cover, not sure, unless I guess the Bible cover is a bag, which it might be. So if the Bible cover is a bag, then then I guess you're okay. But yeah, I would definitely focus on the products here more than the text in your thumbnails. That would be the first thing that I would work on right now. And really, because it looks like, you get views on some of these, I would go through and start A/B testing that right away. Like on this one here that you did 5 days ago, if you're open for it, I would go in and because YouTube has this feature for a reason, right? For us to test things like this, I would go in and I'd say, okay, let me take just 3 thumbnails. One, I'm going to have this one because this is going to be the, my original that I'm going to compare against. And then I'm going to have one to where it's just a nice shot of the bag sitting on a table. Close up. And it's a close up and the majority of the frame is filled with just a beautiful shot of this bag. And then the next one is going to be the bag with something along the lines of, make this at home with like an arrow pointing to the bag, and then see which one of those performs, see which one of these performs best. But I would start doing those types of experiments with every one of these videos that you upload, because you've got views here or videos here with views on them, which means that people do respond well to your content if you can get them to click on it, right? So because of that, I would really start putting a lot of emphasis on your thumbnails and titles with this, and really trying to help people that are into DIY bag making, help them just instantly be able to identify at a glance that this has something to do with making those bags. And really, I would leverage the imagery because it looks like what you're making is really cool stuff. So I would really lean hard on the imagery there of the bags to try to connect with those people. And even stuff like this is better. Right, it's not as zoomed in as I would like to see it, but that's way better than what it is that you're doing up here, because the way that you're holding all this stuff, it's still more kind of pointing it towards the bag, but at a small size, right? In suggested videos, and I'll just do these. If we scroll down here, right, it's really hard to see that bag. But if this was filled up with the bag, then yeah, that would be great. So yeah, I'd focus on that.
Yeah, people are responding
to
some of those.
Wonder why.
What are you looking for?
I just found an error here.
Oh.
No, it's fine there. It's just some of the videos. I wonder if it's size. I'll figure it out. Okay. So next up on the list here,
Valentine Station says,
we've got...
So my takeaway today is to record some shorts inside of 2 of the old cars I have. Thanks for the ideas. Interesting.
So Girls Bag says, awesome advice. Thanks indeed. Definitely will change up some things using your advice. Awesome. Yeah, let us know how it goes too. So next up, we've got Fala Cruiser Rins. I hope I'm saying that correctly. They upload 1 time per week or more, been on YouTube for a year or more. They do soccer club, general discussions like news, game analysis, and others. The goal of the channel is connect with others who like what they like. And they said they're thinking of a customized Minecraft live stream where I play soccer customized version while talking about soccer theme to attract younger supporters and have another stream. Am I out of my mind, or is there something that can work with news and analysis content as well? I mean, you can always experiment with stuff like that, but one of the things to think about is if you're going to be pulling people in on Minecraft, but you're talking about soccer, then, you're probably going to have a little bit of misalignment there. So, yeah, with what it is that you're currently doing, because I remember that we pulled you up on our last stream, with what it is that you're currently doing, I don't think that that's a great approach, because, like you're pulling people in from something that is way outside of what it is that you're normally offering, and I think that you're going to be pulling in the wrong crowd with that one. Try it though. I mean, it's an experiment. If you want to try it, give it a shot. But yeah, I would just be cautious there. Your review channel says the audio sync is off. Thank you for the heads up.
Shouldn't be.
So next up, we've got Travel Avec Jazz. I hope I'm saying that one correctly. They upload when they have time, but on YouTube for less than a year. They do travel content. And the question is, can I merge other ideas into my travel content? So you say here that being a healthcare provider who understands mental health, how do I merge those skills into my travel content? You can talk about the stresses of travel, right? Yeah. And talk to people about how to manage those types of things. And that's really a unique position that, you know, that you might be able to offer to separate yourself from other travel channels. Because, you know, like, as you know, traveling's great, but, you know, you having dealing with like a plane delay that's going to cause you to mix the next 2 planes. Yeah, that's not great, right? You know, going somewhere and dealing with culture shock and feeling uncomfortable, you know, mentally navigating that side of things, you know. Solo travelers, I see one of your videos here is a solo travel video. You know, I see on Reddit, and hop on Reddit if you're not on there already and look in like the solo travel subreddit, or just any of the travel subreddits, and you'll see lots of people that go out and they do these solo adventures. And they do it because they see, you know, somebody on Instagram or YouTube or something doing it. And then they go out there and they're like, yeah, this sucks. I hate it. I hate having these experiences by myself. There's so many Reddit posts about that. Yeah, man. Yeah, where people are like, yeah, it looks great on the internet. But then like when you go out, you're just having these experiences without anybody to share it with. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't like that. Some people love solo travel, but some people don't like those sorts of things. So being able to, you know, help people manage those types of things, you know, with their, you know, psychology, I think is definitely something that you might be able to help with there. What are you going to say, D?
I was going to say, you really have to be comfortable with yourself and be okay being alone if you're going to solo travel. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise you're...
Yeah. And being able to entertain yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I know I've had some times, like, for example, like if I did like a visa run in the Philippines and stuff like that, to where, you know, it'd be fun. Like I'd have a good time, but it's just not the same, you know, as traveling with somebody. Yeah. Yeah. Like, you know, like you don't share stories with anybody. Right. Right. So you're having the experiences, but like, it just doesn't give you the opportunity. Like when we've traveled places, like we can, you know, talk about that stuff. But like when you go by yourself, it's just like, you know, you can just remember it, but it's just not, you know, it's just not the same.
Yeah. It's always funner to share it with somebody.
Yeah.
You got a super chat.
Super chat. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing great. It says, my videos typically take many months to get ranked in search and gain views. However, I had one pop off crazy right out of the gate. Can you give me your insights on this? So did it pop off in YouTube search right away? If so, that's fantastic. It could have just, you know, there could have been a hole there that YouTube, you know, tried to fix, or they could have, in terms of, you know, like people are looking for that, but there wasn't anything, you know, that people were responding well to. And then maybe when your video went up there, people just responded to it better than anything else there, so YouTube kept it there. Could be that. But I would definitely check your traffic sources, which I'm assuming that you've done already. But I would check your traffic sources to see if, you know, it is all coming from search. But yeah, like I've had that happen too, to where, you know, you publish something and then like it's just there, and then it just stays there. So yeah, that's definitely a you know, a thing that happens.
Brent is solo traveling to China, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan this summer. Yeah. What
I think solo travel is good for is like confidence building and like self-reliance building and stuff like that, because, you know, you don't have a bounce board, right? Like there's nobody to like, you know, go through stuff with. So instead you're like, you know, you just got to figure stuff out. So like, I think that sort of thing is definitely an advantage. Yeah. Oh, it came from the YouTube homepage. Oh, okay. Yeah. Then YouTube was showing it to people and they just responded to it. So yeah. So one thing to, I'm actually going to open your channel and see if I can figure out which video that was. I'm going to guess it was a recent one here. 250,000 views. That's it. Easy fix for sagging doors. You know, man, it could be that just there's so many people with that problem. I've actually seen big videos on TikTok like this too. Literally people fixing this problem with sagging doors. Right over here, 250,000 views 2 weeks ago. Wow. So one teachable moment from here, or learnable moment, I should say, is this worked well. So thinking to yourself, like, what are the most common problems that people have? So when YouTube does recommend this to people on their homepage, to where it's going to have the highest relatability, right? Like, you know, yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think of something, but basically being like, okay, if people related to this, then, you know, what else can I make a video about that's short, similar to this one, that's a super common problem that people have. You might want to hop into like, Google Trends probably wouldn't be the best one for this. Yeah, it would, comparing different things against each other. So yeah, hopping into Google Trends for that.
Easy fix for a leaky faucet.
Yeah.
Easy fix for a running toilet. Just normal Problems. Problems everyone has.
Yeah.
At some time or another.
Clogged toilet might be one.
Easy fix for clogged toilet.
Yeah.
Easy fix for noisy neighbor who cranks their music at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, how to fix a clogged toilet with no plunger.
Yeah.
That's probably a huge one, because then, like if you teach people how to do that, they can do it at somebody else's house too.
Step 1, call plumber.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
Call Roger Wakefield to be specific. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those types of things might be the approach there.
Plus, it's only 2 minutes. There's not much of a commitment there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple things here, just really quick. So the very first is I do want to remind you that this stream is brought to you by Opus Clip. It is the industry-leading clipping tool that will help you repurpose your content to other platforms, help you stay consistent through that repurposing, things like that. If you're somebody that's been intimidated by shorts content because you don't have the time to make it, Opus Clip is the solution for that as well. It takes your long-form content and it makes it where you can easily use it elsewhere. You can try it for yourself at opusclip.com, or if you want to hook me up with an affiliate commission, which it doesn't matter to me either way, I just make it available if you do, you can go to tryopusnow.com. And in addition to that, we've got a bunch of helpful links for you down in the description as well, a bunch of other helpful stuff that we make, some free stuff, some paid stuff, all that. You can find more details about that down in the description. But one thing that I do want to remind you of, though, if you are a new content creator or you're a creator that's struggling and you're having trouble breaking through, I want to remind you that YouTube is a learning curve, just like anything else that you're going to do. When you start a new job, you start playing a new instrument, you have like any skills that you're trying to develop at all, there's a bunch of stuff that you have to learn around that, and a bunch of skills that you need to develop in order to be able to do it efficiently. And YouTube is the same exact way. So I know it can be frustrating. I know sometimes you just want to, when you publish a video and it doesn't do well, you're just like, oh my gosh, I spent so much time on that and like people didn't respond to it. Keep going. Hang in there, keep learning, be intentional about what it is that you're doing. When you're listening to these streams, like I recommend that you take notes on stuff. And anytime we pull up a channel, anytime we answer a question, ask yourself like, okay, is this something that I can apply to my content? If yes, then then go and do that. And if you need to go back on the replay and do that, or just do it next stream, whatever, that's fine. But like, I just want to encourage you, because this stuff is challenging. It takes time, and it's there's a lot of moving parts to it. And the more you can dedicate to developing the skill sets around doing it and the understanding of who it is that you're trying to reach with the content, the better off you're going to be long term. So hang in there. You got this. Have a great rest of your weekend, D.
Yeah, good stream. And Roberto's going live on the Opus Clips channel, I think.
Oh, he is?
In about an hour, I think.
That wasn't scheduled earlier. I would have redirected to it. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this in here. Let me go over there really quick, just so you guys don't have to go and search for it yourself. I'm going to find it for you right now.
Yeah, 1 hour.
Okay, yeah, he's going live in 1 hour over here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this link in there for you, so you can go ahead and over there and get that scheduled. He's actually talking about shorts and growing your channel with shorts.
You got to laugh.
So
hey, Nate
if
the
that's
Lawyer.
something that you're interested in, definitely make sure that you head over to that and hang out with Roberto Blake for a while.
Get a last minute super
and
chat.
Really quick, Nate the Lawyer, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. Said if YouTube only sends 3 notifications per day, including shorts posts, and a 4th won't notify subs, should I limit uploads to 3 per day? You don't have to, because that's just notifications. That doesn't mean that they don't show it on home pages. It doesn't mean they won't show it, suggested next to another video. That's only for notifications. So it doesn't mean that your viewers aren't going to see it on their home page. So if you want to publish more, or in their shorts feed. So if you want to publish more, you absolutely can. But when it comes to the content that is getting the notifications, that's the stuff that you want to prioritize. So if you publish a bunch of videos in a day, then you want to say, okay, which one of these, it would be super important for the people that are subscribed to my channel and have the notifications turned on, which one of these would be, the best for them, and you want to make sure you prioritize those. So yeah, so you can definitely publish more, and people will still see it on their home pages that are a good fit for, that content. So on that note, everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern.